Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's been one of the great mysteries of our time. Good morning. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff Show. Just how involved is Tom Brady with the Raiders? We know he's very involved at Fanatics Fest, where he was this weekend.
Yeah.
That dude must have been getting a cut of every person who walked in the door because he was everywhere. But, Pearl, we did get a little more clarity from your pal and mine, Mike Silver, who writes for The Athletic and does a great job. And it was about Sam Darnold. It was an article that he wrote. And it goes back to the offseason where, according to Silver, many people thought that Las Vegas would be a destination for Sam Darnold.
Sure.
Turns out, this is how he writes in The Athletic, 7-time Super Bowl winning quarterback Tom Brady, whose opinion held great sway, was not in favor of that approach, which means bringing Darnold into the Raiders. He said no thank you. So they're not saying it was Pete Carroll. They're not saying it was necessarily Pete Carroll's relationship with Geno Smith, although obviously that's makes a lot of sense considering that's who they went with in Vegas. But Brady is involved here. Can you finally admit that he is making at least quarterback decisions? He might not be grinding film on linebackers from North Dakota State. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But what about for the quarterback position? Will you now admit he's definitely involved?
Oh, sure. Okay. I'm not sure I ever said he wasn't involved in the quarterback decision. But so does that mean he didn't want Shador?
I think you have to play all of that out. I think after this report.
But was that a yes?
Yes, I think that's a yes. I think it's a yes. And I think that maybe he said no to Sam Darnold and probably no to Shador, which is an interesting way to take it. But what I think it illustrates is why the Seahawks say yes to Darnold.
Why not?
Well, but is that a great way? Is that a great way to make a decision about a quarterback that you just gave $100 million to? Now, it's not going to actually be $100 million unless he hits every single metric, but it's essentially like a 2-year deal from what I can tell.
Right, but I mean, the Seahawks. So I think so Sam Darnold's really the lowest paid primary starter in the NFL. He's 18th on the list, but he really has less guaranteed money. Then the next one down is Justin Fields. So they're not really investing much. Would you have not gone in with any veteran quarterback? So it's interesting. Seattle I think they were well, we should bring a veteran in because I think we're good enough to be a playoff team. So, but we don't want to handcuff us for the future.
Sure.
I think that makes sense as a team building exercise. Let's give it a shot for Sam Darnold. If this doesn't work out and we're bad, then we're going to get in the draft and get our quarterback in the future. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, I'm surprised because you're someone who obviously loved the process, and the idea of being in the middle can sometimes be really tough.
They're not in the middle with this. They're because this is the middle is actually the Raiders are closer to the middle. Geno Smith has middle written all over him, and they have a longer term commitment to him. The Seahawks, what's the commitment here to Sam Darnold? What's the risk?
Right back, though.
The middle, I think, exists still with Darnold because you're if they're really bad, then you just get back into the draft. But isn't Darnold kind of insurance that you're actually not going to be really bad? I think what he showed with Minnesota is that you can win a lot of games if you have talent around him.
Right.
And then, but when you get, so that's kind of like a tease, right? The Vikings were a huge tease this year. You win 14 games, and then you just absolutely crap out at the last minute. That is a difficult pill to swallow for the Vikings. And it looked like Darnold was setting up to get this big contract in Minnesota. And then literally the last 2 games of the season, 9 points against Detroit, 9 points against the Rams in a playoff game on the road. And it was goodbye. So I don't know if Darnold's ever going to give you the New York Jets or Carolina Panthers Darnold at this point. Is he going to be so bad you're getting a top 5 pick? I don't think so. You're right in the middle.
Okay.
He's going to win you the 7, 8, 9, whatever you think it is. And I'm curious from Seahawk fans, if he does well, then you're going to pay him, right? He's going to stay there. And if he doesn't, you're around that 7, 8, 9, which is exactly where Geno Smith would have had you, potentially. And are you any closer to really finding your quarterback of the future?
Well, Geno wanted more money, though. Geno, all the reports are that contract situation did go great. Geno asked for 40 plus. He ended up at about 38 with the Raiders, right? So, so you just said that you don't want it to be in limbo. So will you admit that going cheaper with Darnold is a better move in that sense.
No, I would have just straight up tried to tank this year. I'm actually trying to just do the Drew Lock or Jalen Milroe. I don't even know if I would have, I don't say wasted a pick, but is he really going to be my quarterback of the future or even have a shot, or even be my competent backup, because Jalen Milroe's style is so wildly different from at least Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, and other guys, right? He's a running quarterback mostly, super athletic. We're excited for him to, I don't know, do preseason. Yeah. Like, I think it would have been fun to watch Jalen Milroe compete, the Alabama quarterback, but I don't know why he makes sense at all for the Seahawks now.
I understand what you're saying.
I want to reimagine the whole Seahawks quarterback room. And I think there was like this false, I don't say urgency to compete for a playoff spot, when I don't think anyone believes the Seahawks are really a dangerous team.
Well, I mean, listen, they were close last year, and things did not go well. And they still won 10 games.
They traded away DK Metcalf. I mean, it was a weird, and then you bring in Cooper Kupp. I think you're sending mixed messages to your fan base. I'd be curious what they think. It
just seems so obvious that Mike McDonald is trying to recreate the Baltimore Ravens. So what do the Ravens do? They run the ball and they play defense. Traditionally, now they're offensive juggernaut as well.
Two-time MVP quarterback.
But generally, the Harbaugh model, and I think Mike McDonald's been with both Harbaughs, is run, defense. And then your quarterback is kind of a closer in some sense. I'm not exactly sure what they want out of quarterback, but they're an interesting team in the sense that they have a lot of weird talent around the offense. You're right. The passing offense is not. No one's excited about Sam Darnold to JSN and Cooper Kupp. It's not exactly electric, but I think it could win a lot of games if those other elements are good. They're going to want to run. That's like his bread and butter. So I think if they can run well and put Sam Darnold in a good position, they could win double-digit games. And you were started with the Raiders. The thing about the Seahawks, they're not in the AFC West. The poor Raiders are screwed. You're talking about it in the middle. Like Geno Smith. I don't know. Everything you said about the Seahawks, why doesn't that apply to Tom Brady? We started with Tom Brady. What is Tom Brady building? Like, explain to me their strategy. At least the Seahawks have a path to something interesting. More to me, what's the Raiders' path?
Oh, can we put that up on the poll, EJ? Who's the more interesting team, Seahawks or Raiders? I know it's random because they're two teams not in the same conference, but
that's not exactly what I'm asking. Not who's more interesting, but who has a more interesting path towards getting out of limbo,
right?
Or being really, really good. Is it like, what's the Raiders' path? Explain to me. Even if I squint, I'm not quite sure I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that this is a great idea, but can I tell you what the Raiders are doing? What the Raiders are doing, and this could be false, and this is a new GM taking over, and Brady's in the building now. I think they were embarrassed coming off the last couple of years. I don't think that.
You mean the last 20 years, but
well. I don't think the Seahawks were embarrassed. They had Geno. He wrote him off. He didn't write back. Like they found something. They moved on from Russell.
I ain't right back.
They moved on from Russell Wilson, and they were able to steady the ship and kind of be this playoff team, but not really contender, and kind of hover around that. The Raiders. This has been embarrassing ever since John Gruden. It was having to get rid of Gruden because of the emails. You bring in Rich Bisaccia. You actually make the playoffs. You've got the ball in your hands against Cincinnati on the road with a chance to win the game. Can't do it. You decide to pair, Devontae Adams with Derek Carr in some kind of amazing college reunion that ends up blowing up in everybody's face. Devontae asks for a trade. You go with Antonio Pierce because the players want him. That ends up being a disaster because he wasn't ready to step into a head coaching role. Everything about the Raiders to me is just about steadying the ship, getting back to respectability. That's what Pete Carroll does for you. That's what Geno does for you. They brought in Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator. Known commodities. That's what's going on with the Raiders. I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't know if it's going to get them any closer to a playoff berth, but I think the Raiders needed something they could actually be proud of to try to do that thing. I hate the cliche about building culture, but to be honest, they really needed to do it.
But they're just recreating the 2024 Seahawks. I mean, I know you're saying Tom Brady, but this has got Pete Carroll's hand. It's bringing in Geno, drafting a running back in the first round. Hello, Pete Carroll. Like, the problem is they don't have enough talent from all those years of mismanagement. So I don't see where this is headed exactly. I mean, Geno's not a young, Geno's contract feels like he's going to be there for 2 years. Then they're going to want a young guy. But they're going to be too good to get the young guy. Everything you said about Seattle feels as same exact thing for the Raiders, except Seattle's probably a little better, and they're not stuck in that darn division, AFC West.
Yeah, I mean, NFC West is no picnic. You got suddenly, everyone is expecting a huge comeback from the 49ers this year because they've got the easy schedule. They're healthier now. They're getting a little bit younger. And the Rams are a thing.
They're not getting that much younger. They still have Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, They just re-signed George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk apparently is out of his mind based on, I don't know if you saw last night, he was tweeting about how bad the team is. I'm not sure the Niners have that much of a run either. It's still better than the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Chiefs. And you know that.
I get it. I do get it.
So I think the interesting thing, Tom Brady comes into the Raiders. You would think different, right? He was a 6th-round pick out of New England. Belichick did things differently. It doesn't feel like they're going down any kind of different path. It feels a very conventional rebuild. And unfortunately, in that division and where they are as a team, I'm not sure that's going anywhere.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Curious if people think Tom Brady being this involved is a good thing. I'll be honest, the track record of star players getting involved with teams is not awesome. You got a couple examples, like Larry Bird, I think, was a good executive, and some others who were all-time greats in their sport, and then go over to the, like Jerry West, obviously, is probably the gold standard. But, there's been some other pretty big disasters. Like Magic Johnson wasn't a great front office person, and we could go down the list. Isaiah Thomas was terrible and continues to be terrible.
Magic's in front office in D.C., and they look pretty good.
Yeah, but what's he doing on the football side and baseball? I'm talking about the sport he actually played.
He's tweeting about it, and it's a very accurate analysis, obvious but accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Magic Johnson, the AP wire of Twitter feeds.
I mean, here's the funny thing about Brady. You keep saying about this, Brady. If the Raiders are terrible, Brady's going to be like, I had nothing to do with this.
I was calling games with Burkhardt.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
honestly,
at Fanatics Fest.
Yeah.
I think he lived at the Javits Center for 3 days. He slept there.
You have a lot of faith in Brady's ability to rebuild this team. They're very, very far away. I mean, look at their roster. I just don't see it the way you do. I think that they're probably going to win. I love Geno. I think he's a really accurate, good quarterback. But I just don't see, he's not going to be able to lift this team on his shoulders to the playoffs. I mean, playoffs. The other thing, too, I watched a Vikings-Seahawks game on NFL Network recently. Playoffs? It was like week 14 or something. Yeah. And Geno was really, really throwing it to the other side. I was like, oh, my God. Geno, how can you throw it? He would throw it, and he's like, I can hit that window. And one of them got picked and cost him the game.
Yep.
But generally, he is for a Mike McDonald, Jim Harbaugh style offense. I'm not sure Geno's your guy either, because Geno is like, I'm going to go out there and sling it. Darnold can play a little more conservatively.
Yeah, it's funny about that game. Yeah. It's actually referenced in that article that we started the show with about Mike Silver from The Athletic, with the nugget that Tom Brady was the one who didn't want Sam Darnold, right? So he actually did make his preference known there, and who's saying no to Brady. They also said in that article, the fact that Darnold played so well in that game really opened the Seahawks' eyes. And I always think that's a tough, that to me can be a little bit of fool's gold. Like a guy comes in and kicks your butt. It wasn't even a butt kicking. That was a really close game.
Yeah.
But a guy comes in and plays really well against you, and then you're like, oh, we got to get that guy.
So you just said that. And
the 14 wins for the Vikings.
So Tom Brady saw one game, and it was okay that he decided against Sam Darnold one game, but the Seahawks...
No.
So
Brady's was the body of work for Darnold.
But you just said that game had an impact.
On the Seahawks.
And on Brady.
No. Brady, that was different. I said Brady obviously has an impact that he didn't want Sam Darnold, not off of one game. The Seahawks loved Darnold off of the one game.
Oh, right. But you said...
Because he came in with the Vikings, and he beat them.
But right, did you say that Brady called that game and that game had an impact on Brady's decision?
No, I did not say that.
Oh, okay. So Brady,
you were just watching.
Brady did call that game.
Okay,
right?
You said that, not me.
Oh, I thought you said. I'm sorry. I thought you said in the story that Tom Brady called that game and it was in the story.
No.
Oh, I misunderstood. Okay.
But that would have been cooler if I did. No, I have no idea who called the game. I'm assuming it was a Fox game, but I don't know who called it.
Can I give you another reason why it's tough to really get excited about this Raiders group?
Sure.
Because I was trying to make the case for the Raiders in my head because I'm not really sold. But I was like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe they got a good offensive play caller. Who's their offensive coordinator? And I saw Chip Kelly.
Your boy Chip Kelly.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm out. Can't do it.
Just because of Ohio State or going back to the Eagles or what? Everything.
Just him. UCLA, Eagles, Ohio State, pick one.
I realize he's like the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league, I think.
And that's him stealing money. He might as well have a ski. He should go. He should call the plays on the sidelines with a freaking shiesty on. Okay, because I don't know how that's possible.
In my unbiased opinion, Chip Kelly was phenomenal with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, right.
Just
You
saying.
loved that it imploded.
Oh,
It won 10 games.
He had one season where everyone's like, "Whoa, this
Yeah.
is amazing." But here's the thing: the Raiders.
Phenomenal
You're talking about
job.
a team that should tank. The Raiders got to get their quarterback. Like they really need to get bad, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do this with Pete Carroll there.
No, I think Pete Carroll brings a amount of respectability, and I think he's going to help the defense.
Yeah, I know, which is kind of a bummer because in the next 2 years, there's a lot of quarterbacks coming in the NFL, and they might miss out on some good guys. Talk about limbo. They are total. Well, or can they? I mean, they're expected to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. Maybe they can get a top 5 pick, but I don't know where this is going. That's why I would give me the Seahawks all day.
I at least understand what the Raiders are doing. Again,
How can you not? Well, I think it's pretty clear what the Seahawks are doing. They're recreating the Ravens in every possible way.
right, but Sam Darnold and Lamar Jackson are not the same person.
Yeah, but
close.
they did hire Clint Kubiak, who Sam Darnold has got Clint Kubiak written all over.
Yeah, they were together in San Francisco.
Yeah, Kubiak, the Kubiak Shanahan model. Who rolls out to the right better than Sam Darnold? That's his bread and butter.
Yeah. For the first couple of years, he was throwing that right in the second row of the stands, but now it seems like he's getting on target a little bit better.
I mean, first of all, he's probably the best. He's like the 5th best Jets quarterback of all time statistically.
Well, that's fair, but that's not exactly a high bar. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, so we're curious for a couple things. One,
This crap is crap.
if you're a Raider fan, are you happy that Tom Brady is this involved making decisions? Because you're getting all the evidence that you need here. And this is just the latest example, is that he was the one who preferred that they skip on Darnold. So that's number one. Do you like Brady at the helm? And then secondly, is there any way Sam Darnold makes Brady look bad here? Can he get the last laugh in Seattle? Is that possible? Curious what you think. 888-710-4ISN. It is the Maggie Perloff Show. At a trade go down in the NBA last night. We can get to that. And also, looky who's on the recruiting trail. Someone got pulled out of retirement to meet with some big-time recruits. I'll just tell you, it's Nick Saban. We'll talk about it next. It's Maggie and Perloff. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We've been talking about the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold did a big interview about how he knows how bad the end of the season was for him. Anyway, it got me thinking about Seattle. I don't know if this is all over your timelines or maybe it's just me. The Jeff Bezos is getting married. Have you guys seen this?
I do on my timeline. Thanks to my algorithm.
Wow. Lucky you.
Who's Jeff Bezos?
That's amazing, guys. I need to get into your algorithms.
Like an Italian villa or something like that?
Venice, yeah.
It's a lot of wrestling. It's a lot of like superhero movie content.
Yeah,
Ironheart coming out soon.
Don't think you want my algorithm.
Yeah,
And then
probably
NBA
not. Actually, I take it all back.
NBA draft, mock drafts.
All right, I'll stay with the Bezos is because...
I got you a little bit here, Maggie.
Okay, so
Yes.
Bogusch and I are on the same
I'm
page.
aware of it, yeah.
Okay.
I
So-
recently got SpongeBob in Spanish on my algorithm. So if you want some Spanish dubbed SpongeBob.
Yeah. All right. Well, sure. I do want that. I want it more than I want the Bezos wedding
Esponja.
because here's what I just saw. And I was like, would you find this embarrassing or would you find it cool? So the Bezos wedding is happening. This is Lauren Sanchez used to be married to Tony Gonzalez. So there is like a loose sports tie here. Their 19-year-old son's getting married.
I'm Tony Gonzalez, University of California.
I'm sorry. Their 19-year-old son has his birthday. Sorry. So Bezos and his wife, Lauren Sanchez, or fiance, threw him a foam party on their
what?
yacht.
Oh,
a
nice.
foam
Yeah,
party.
that sounds
FOAM. How? And they're out there in bathing suits, and Bezos and the fiance, and they're PDAing all over the place. Like,
no.
if I was 19 and this was my birthday, I would run and hide.
Oh,
On a
God.
boat? You can't really run and hide on a boat either.
I would jump off the boat.
Oh, dear.
I'd swim away.
You could hide on his boat.
True.
It's like a $500 million yacht.
It's not a dinghy?
No,
Probably as
it's
big as a
not.
football
I'd
field.
take the dinghy and get the hell out of there. I would go.
Take
It
the
doesn't
lifeboat?
matter if you're rich. They're still your parents, and
I
they
have
are
a
being
child.
so embarrassing.
And that's not his mom, right?
No,
Yeah,
it's a stepmom, and she's
right.
all out there with the boobs out. The whole deal. And it's like, I'm not saying do you, but if that's your parents, that is beyond cringe.
I can one up
All
you.
boobs.
I can one up you because I heard something even more disturbing along the same lines.
Oh, okay.
So I was listening to Smart List, the podcast. You guys know that? Very popular podcast. They had Stephen Graham, the British actor, on. No big deal. He did that incredible Netflix movie. They were talking about in Hollywood and LA, there's a huge scavenger hunt trend where when you graduate high school, you do a scavenger hunt and all the parents are there and all the kids are there. And one of the ways to get the most money is if you make out with one of your friend's parents. What? Yes, this was Jason Bateman talking about it. So, and it's along the lines. I think there's something going on out there in the fancy world where like parents are now partying with kids. I don't know, but it feels very consistent with your story.
That has to be a joke. What
It was
parent
on
is making
Smart
out
List.
with their kids' friends?
I'll give you the town's name in the break, but the town next to mine on Long Island, a fancy town, had a scandal maybe 2 school years ago with parents hooking up with kids like at a prom after party.
What?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is all right. So
This is illegal, guys. Like,
It was borderline illegal.
Gilded
have
Age
dumped any
rich
of
people
this.
stuff.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
his
and Google
Lord-
now too, like around
Fancy Town, Long Island.
Well, but like also there's been stories about how, not involving parents and kids, but how these parents go off the reservation in the summer when their kids go to camp, and the parents then have 2 months of drugs and drinking and partying and like partner swapping, like it's like extended spring break.
Manny just woke up.
Hey, Manny, welcome back.
You'd play well in these
Wait,
groups.
okay, can I ask you a question, though? If you are somebody who, the moment your kid goes to summer camp, all of a sudden you're breaking out the Molly, aren't you just like that all the time?
Well, now
No, I don't think so. I don't think you can do Molly and be an effective parent.
Okay, other question. If you're somebody who's actually going to entertain something that is should be illegal, which is making out with your kid's friend.
Yeah.
You're thinking about that all the time. It's not just because you happen to have a couple Jack
But
Daniels.
now you can do it on a Tuesday as opposed to saving it for Saturday nights.
By the way, the other things are the scavenger hunt. There's a lot of like ridiculously adult things for high school seniors. A lot of sex stuff.
Whoa.
Oh my
Birds
goodness,
and
he
the
had
bees
to,
stuff.
I have to dump that.
I have a. Really? Oh. I have a 14-year-old.
It's not like when I spelled the other thing.
Listen, I'm in that phase where like my worst fear is I'm going to be watching something on TV and there's going to be an adult scene and my 13-year-old and I are going to have to sit there and watch it and like Sarah immediately runs in and turns the channel. Like this awkward stage of like, you don't want to talk about it.
That's as awful for you guys as it is for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, everyone remembers where they were when they had to watch like a scene in a movie that was too risque and their parents were there. It's just mine was American Pie. It's just horrible.
Oh my God.
I still remember.
Pie with your parents?
I did. It was stupid.
Oh,
but
no.
here's the thing.
28 years old and I still cringe.
We all should, because that's the natural order of things. You shouldn't. It should be uncomfortable.
You know how many telenovelas I've watched? Passionate kisses in Spanish with my mother.
That was okay?
It was very uncomfortable for me.
See, that's right. That's correct. That's the right response to have. I hate to do that normal, typical thing, but that is the normal thing to do, is to be cringing. This sounds made up and fake. There's no way that parents are making
now
out with
partying
their
with kids. No, I don't know if anybody
friends.
did that. This was Jason Bateman and the British actor Stephen Graham talking about this. And I guess it's a thing out in Hollywood. I was actually worried. I'm like, is my daughter going to have to do a scavenger hunt at the end of high school? Because I have no idea.
If she comes in saying, we're going to do a scavenger hunt, you're like, no, you're not.
You
No, you're
just go
not.
punch your friend Jim right in the
Right,
face.
yeah, just start a fight with somebody.
Whatever happened to the scavenger hunt promposal? Can we go back to that?
That seems
those were
sweeter.
nice.
It's
Those were
actually
nice.
between kids. The adults, this is what I think about this sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I get you want to like party a little bit, your kids go to summer camp, whatever. But
Drugs.
I also think you kind of had your time, right?
That's
Oh,
the
I know.
problem. I think these people didn't. That's
I
why
don't
it's
get.
happening.
I don't get the older people partying thing that you just mentioned, like that kind of party.
Perloff, you're still going to be partying in 20 years?
I don't party now, but the thing is, for as long as we're all getting honest here, like once you get married, what's the point? I mean, don't you just want to sit on the couch and watch sports?
Well, what Bogusch is saying, that once you get a little, I don't know, like
Freedom.
Molly ketamine
Yeah.
situation
Look
inside
out.
of you, all of a sudden you're doing key parties.
yeah,
like
if you
it's
want
the
to swing, I
1970s.
guess. But if say you're a faithful husband, why on earth would you want to go out and why not just sit on your couch and drink beers and watch like,
sports.
the NBA playoffs or something? Like it does. I don't understand like the energy. Oh my God, I'm going to go out with people I don't know and do Molly. No, thank you. Even Manny's like, you got me.
No.
Dude, you never go out. You always stay home. You're like, it was your birthday. You're like, my dream is to stay home and play Madden on the TV while I watch the game on my phone.
College football, I would never spend my money on Madden.
I know. Somehow I just offended everybody.
Jerk.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Okay, parents partying. Let's get honest. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. The moment your kids leave the house, do you consider this permission to just go absolutely bananas?
Parents are now partying with kids. No. Oh, man. But this all started, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez in bathing suits and foam seems relatively tame compared to what we're uncovering key parties.
I guess so.
It's like the 70s all over again in Bogusch's town.
Yeah, fancy.
No, not mine.
The town
fancy
over.
town, Long
Go
Island.
to.
I can't believe that the kid who's having a 19-year-old birthday party wants his parents or dad and stepmom or whatever the combination is to be throwing him a foam party where they're wearing practically nothing bathing suits. Like, parents, get out of here.
Right. I mean, it's like a deal with the devil. It's like we're gonna give you the dopest party you could ever imagine, but there's a price.
But there's a catch.
There's
We're
a
gonna be
price.
front and center.
Yeah, and then you gotta make that decision. Do I want this dope ass party?
Yeah.
Or do I want to watch my parents play tonsil hockey?
Or it's both.
Exactly.
No, it's that
Paparazzi.
you're gonna see both. It's just a matter of are you willing to take it? And I guess the kid said, "Yeah,
I'll be
maybe they
partying
don't
on
have
the
a
Lido
choice.
deck while you guys are down below.
Yeah.
Ugh.
One thing about swinging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smooth
My notebook.
transition.
I used to watch a lot of the show HBO
Hold on, let me
Real
get my
Sex.
bat ready.
Remember HBO Real Sex?
Different kind of swinging, man.
It was a documentary about adult life. Anyway,
Yeah.
They would tease these specials. We're going to go deep inside the swinger community. And you're like, well, that sounds really interesting. And then there's always a dude who's about 20% overweight with a ponytail, and you're like, God, why are swingers and nude beaches? Why aren't the people better looking on these swingers and nude beaches?
It's never Pitt and Clooney on that nude beach.
Although my wife is watching something on Hulu, like The Secret Life of Mormon Wives, and that started with like a sex scandal of threesomes and swapping partners and stuff like that, and they are attractive people.
Yeah, that
So
show.
There are
Andrea watched
some.
that show.
Wait, is that a documentary? I know there's a Real Housewives of Mormon Wives.
It is it's whatever they call it. I mean, it's real people being followed around. It's not after
It's
the fact.
reality TV.
Yeah, it's
No,
reality TV.
Isn't that Real Housewives or is it
No,
not?
this is a separate thing.
Yeah, it's a different show.
Oh, it's a different show. Anyway, my daughter loves that because they drink soda like crazy in that show.
Soda and creamer. They have
have
like special
bars
concoction
that are full of soda. She showed me clips from it before.
Right.
But
I didn't know you could drink soda. I thought anything with caffeine in it is
somehow
a no-no.
soda's okay.
No,
but
can't have caffeine. It's decaffeinated. They put
Right.
syrup in it.
Right, you can't have coffee. This is like their or alcohol. Like this is their
Party.
their fun drink.
That
But
does
it's not
sound kind of
swinging. In the
Drunk off a
Mormon
Sprite.
culture, it's not swinging. It's called how it works.
No. This is not one guy having 8 wives. This is wives and husbands switching.
Yeah, but
It is
it's all
swinging.
in the same milieu.
It's not.
I mean, once you have 3 wives, like what's the difference? You're not
there
going to
is no
share
They
three
don't
wives.
do that anymore.
This is not 3
The
wives.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. That's the show.
So you won't have
Hulu.
a regular caffeinated Coca-Cola, but you'll all sleep with the neighbor's husband?
Well, I mean, not to get too religious, but I feel like everyone plays fast and loose with the rules and logic of whatever book they follow.
Nobody more than athletes.
Well, they're that too.
Yeah, the super religious
milieu of
athletes. Keep an eye on those guys.
I mean, come on. Like, the Mormons had 5 wives. They're the original swingers. I mean, this is...
That's not what swinging is.
I know,
though.
but the wives don't
Easy
get
there.
anything.
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
not
get to
swinging.
In my
swing.
mind, that's the ideal form of swinging.
Really?
I mean, I'd rather have 5 wives and have my wife have 3 husbands. Yes, that's a little better.
No, I mean, I'm thinking
Perloff's going to convert by
having
tomorrow.
actual wives
want
that you
him.
have to like be
Oh, yeah.
attentive to.
3
sounds
women with all of our
sounds-
women's stuff.
Sounds horrifying to me.
It's a lot of passive-aggressive comments.
Wait,
3 times as many, quite frankly.
Swinging is different. Swinging is like,
you're
No strings attached.
hey, see you. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Wives is like that's
forever.
That's commitments to 5 different people. That's scary.
I think we just revealed a lot about EJ's attitude towards his coming nuptials right there.
Well, listen, one Andrea is different than having Andrea 2 other women.
I
you have
don't
to
know. He seems a
tiptoe
little-
around.
Seems a little nervous about what this means. Maybe it doesn't mean you can't play 3 hours of video games every night, buddy.
It's 3 hours. You got 5 wives. Just throw away the PS5. Just throw it right in the garbage can.
How are you
Yeah,
breaking down
there
Nick's
we go.
tape with that many wives?
Exactly.
And that is live psychoanalysis of EJ Stewart right there.
Now you got to deputize the wives. Like, we need you on pick and rolls. You're going to be on baseline
You got the
coverages. there's
Jets.
you,
Everybody got a job.
the inbounds plays.
Everybody knows a role. Everybody has a role. Everybody
Everybody has
knows
a
it.
role to play.
Do your job.
Headlines?
Sure, they're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Ooh, the bleep is Manny Rodriguez.
It is expected to be the first of multiple moves this summer from the Celtics. Drew Holiday on his way to Portland for Anthony Simons. This will apparently save Boston $40 million in luxury tax payments. Holiday due about $104 million over the next 3 seasons, while Simons is on an expiring contract. The Celtics still need to shave another $20 million to get under the second luxury tax apron. Another $20 million on top of that gets them under the first one. The Mavs reportedly signing big man Daniel Gafford to a 3-year, $54 million extension, which might help them trade him this summer. And you'll be shocked to hear that Chris Middleton is exercising his $33 million option for next season in Washington.
That's crazy.
Guys getting good advice.
Good business decision. Good.
Think about that. That's another deal with the devil, right? Like, here's $33 million. But you got to play for the Wizards.
I saw that pass on. I'm like, oh, right, Chris Middleton's a Wizard. I think that was the national reaction to that deal, right? Did anybody else forget he was on the Wizards?
Totally.
Yeah.
But the $33 million will make up for it. And also what I saw about the Wizards, and it was Wizards, not Charlotte, Wizards, Nets, and another team that's pretty sorry. That's the only place where Ace Bailey wants to go.
That's pretty sorry.
Sorry, it is. These are not teams who are competing at any time. And the reason why he strategically wants to go to these places is because they don't have like
A star.
star
or
or like
number one option. Yeah.
or any redundancy at the position.
Yep.
So he feels like in 5 years he'll get paid.
Did the Pennsylvania governor tell the Sixers yesterday not to draft Ace Bailey?
That was awesome. I think he wants Bailey. He doesn't like VJ Edgecombe.
Okay.
Too much of a role player.
But
That's what the governor of Pennsylvania said.
Josh Shapiro, by the way.
Yeah, no, he's a big sports
We should
guy.
pull that sound. Like, it's going to talk you off VJ Edgecombe at number 3.
He's been grinding tape along with EJ's non-existent wives.
The Washington Nationals, by the way, are 13 games.
Sorry, he hates Bailey. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
if you don't want to
there we
interview
are.
then. Like, we
I
don't
thought
want
he had an
to.
epiphany on the Washington Nationals.
Meanwhile, like the world's burning, but let's get what the Pennsylvania governor thinks about Ace Bailey.
I mean, it's better than Kathy Hochul wants him. She's like obsessed with the backup linebackers of the Bills. All she thinks about is the Bills in
Well,
New York.
that's a real position battle going on. They got to stop the run.
What is a number 3 pick?
Maggie, are you a special consultant to
Kathy
Kathy
Hochul.
Hochul this whole time?
Oh, I hate Kathy Hochul.
Just snaking Perloff.
I
sitting right next to
thought
him.
about that a lot. She has this thing called congestion pricing in New York, which I hate. I don't hate her. I hate that policy. Please
Yeah, and
go
I'm the
ahead.
one who actually has to pay it.
I pay it too.
And you
but-
do pay it too.
Right.
We all pay it. No, everyone knows that.
I do not.
EJ and Bogusch don't.
Everyone knows the biggest issue is who's going to be the second corner for the Bills. Go back to you both.
Kyrie.
Linebacker's fine.
The Washington Nationals are 13 games under 500, but they still did a very good job when they traded Juan Soto to the Padres a few years ago. The return included their ace, Mackenzie Gore, their starting shortstop, C.J. Abrams, and one of the best young outfielders in the game.
The kick in the 1-0. Wood drives one, deep right field. It's hooking toward the corner. Will it stay fair? It hits the foul pole. It's a home run. James Wood bangs it off the foul pole for a 3-run shot. The Nationals blow it wide open as they lead it 9-3.
That, of course, from Nats Radio, the homer, 4 RBI, 3 runs scored for James Wood in his first game at Petco Park. His Nats a 10-6 win over the Padres. The Angels scored 4 in the 8th to steal a 9-5 win from the Red Sox. The Mariners thumped the Twins 11-2, homer number 32 for Cal Raleigh, extending his major league lead, and the Cardinals flexed against the Cubs.
The 1-strike pitch. There's a drive to right field. That's hit hard. It's hit deep. It's hit out of here. A home run for Brendan Donovan. The Cardinals lead 4-1.
St. Louis with a quartet of 2-run homers for an 8-2 win over the Cubbies. They've won 6-7. Chicago has dropped 4-5. And Inter Miami is the only MLS team to survive the group stage of the FIFA Club World Cup, clinching their spot in the round of 16 with last night's 2-2 draw with Palmeiras.
Muy bien. Palmeiras, but whatever.
Our own Andrew Kaplan in the chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network said the kid the 19-year-old who's Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's son, who they threw him a foam party for his birthday on their yacht, and so you basically have to party with your parents, half naked, foam party. They're yucking it up. He said that kid's looking at his inheritance. Oof. Imagine if it was that was the stipulation. Like, you'll get your inheritance. It'll be billions of dollars, but you got to party with us.
Yeah, that's fine. Give me billions.
I know, but like, you got to you got to hold your nose and do that. Nobody wants to party with their parents.
No, never.
Right.
Never.
I don't know. My parents aren't exactly offering me some $50 billion yacht to party on. If I was 19 and it's like, where is this party?
It was on their yacht.
In
Venice
Italy,
or something.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Why, bro? This isn't off the coast of Miami or something?
They're getting married in Venice.
Party with your parents. Like, hey, let's have a
poor.
barbecue and party with the parents. It's a lot different than on a yacht in the coast of Italy. That's not a bad situation.
Aren't they still your parents, though?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is one of them. Is it Bezos' kid or her kid?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's his, because I don't think that would have to be Tony Gonzalez's son, right? And I think we would know that.
She's got 2 kids with someone else. Tony Gonzalez, I think they just co-parent somebody.
Gotcha.
Gonzalez, University of California. Okay.
I don't know, Maggie. Your mom bakes and stuff like that. She sounds like a good hang.
My mom is a good hang.
Careful, Maggie.
We're not going to foam parties
Bogusch,
together.
you're entering some dangerous territory here. The way this conversation's going. Your mom seems like a good hang in this conversation. I don't know if you want to go
You want
there.
to party with Pam? Bring the Pinot.
Okay.
And the Molly, apparently.
Better not be.
Leave your keys in the jar.
All right, we got to take a break.
A safe word is.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my gosh.
This 2 towns over swinging party, Bogusch.
Bogusch
I'm
knows a
sure.
lot about it.
2 towns over,
was
quote
the mom
unquote.
is hooking up with sons at the prom.
Yeah.
of
You
course.
seem to know a lot of details about what happens 2 towns
It
over.
was in the New York Post, baby.
So it's got to be true.
Gotta be true.
It was in the New York Post, baby.
Absolutely. I know that.
I'm sure they're so proud.
Bogusch is not a swinger because he spends 80% of his waking hours driving his kids to sporting events.
Like last night.
Yeah, I'm
Possible
surprised,
way.
I'm surprised he's not on a baseball diamond right now.
Yeah.
No chance that guy has 3 wives.
His version of a key party is
Let's
take
start
the
bringing
car
the
keys and
Gatorade.
drive my kid to practice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay. Who was hitting the recruiting trail yesterday? I
Jeff
was surprised
Bezos.
about this. Jeff Bezos, a different type of recruit. I was surprised to see Nick Saban helping out Alabama on the recruiting trail. Is this a good sign or a bad sign for the Crimson Tide? We'll do that next. M&P.
Parents are now partying with kids.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. My daughter and I bond over this song, play it often. This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare, want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. All right, Maggie, I have to be honest. You've teased this story about Nick Saban, and I don't get it.
Why?
You said, I'm surprised that this person is on the recruiting trail. Why wouldn't Nick Saban be on the recruiting trail? If you're Alabama, aren't you going to send out your most famous coach who's alive?
Well,
Bear Bryant might be the other. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right,
of course you're going to send Nick Saban out on the recruiting trail.
So I was a little surprised. So here's the story.
You are the best. Stay alive.
So this is deep in the recruiting circles here, but Saban met with 5-star edge Tank Jones.
Oh, yeah.
That was on Friday.
What
and
a
then
name.
On Saturday, you can't be anything else except for an edge rusher if you're Tank Jones, or maybe defensive tackle. Then he met with 5-star running back Xavier Crowell, I think it's pronounced Crowell. So I guess here's what I was thinking. Yes, you've got Saban as a great tool if you want to, but Saban's also not there anymore, right? Do you want Kalen DeBoer to be able to kind of step out, as it's going to be next to impossible anyway, I get this, to step out of the Saban shadow and not have to rely on him to in any way close the deal with 5-star recruits? Like, aren't you trying to move away and kind of create your own identity as opposed to bringing back the ball coach?
But I don't remember a lot of people having a problem with what's happening at Duke, where Coach K has an office there and he's helping out John Shire. The same exact thing, isn't it?
Well, and I would probably say the same thing to Shire, and the same thing with Roy Williams, and the same thing with Jim Boeheim, or any of these other legendary coaches, because that guy's not playing for you. He's playing for Kalen DeBoer, and I think that, listen, Saban is also such a celebrity now. These guys are such big celebrities. You meet them, get the photo, and that's all fun. But it was already a dicey thing to try to move on from Saban. Now to try to bring him in to get recruits feels like that's a bad sign for Alabama. Kalen DeBoer should be enough, and Alabama as a program should be enough, just like Duke should be enough to get these guys in the building and pen on paper to commit.
It's just, I think in the new NIL landscape, I think this speaks to the fact that Alabama can't stack 5-star recruits and 4-star recruits anymore. Now it's a much different world, right? I mean, the talent's spread out. So I think even if Kalen DeBoer was this master recruiter, like he's going to need everything he can because Alabama can't recruit like they did 10 years ago.
But isn't it just about the money now anyway?
Yeah, but I mean, well, I don't know.
In
That's
some
a good
ways?
that's a good question. But Alabama, if it's just about the money, then Alabama's advantage is probably gone. I would assume the Texas schools are going to blow Alabama out of the water in money just because there's so much money in the oil areas. Sure. So, yeah, it strikes me as pretty traditional that legends of the program would be involved in the recruiting process. I understand what you're saying. Kalen DeBoer has to forge his own path, establish his identity with the program. That sounds good in theory, Maggie, but in reality, if you have Tank Jones and you got to get Tank Jones and Nick Saban's like, I'll go visit him, would you say no?
I wouldn't, but I think I'm setting myself up for like not being able to detach from the apron strings a little bit.
I know what you mean, but I maybe I'm a wimp here, but if I'm Kalen DeBoer, I almost want to keep Saban around.
Well, one thing you mentioned Coach K, and there's a lot of similarities here, and I'm sure Nick Saban did this also, so forgive me, but it was always very well documented that Coach K, rather than him making the pitch, he always had the Duke alums make the pitch. Like you have Alabama is like 20% of the NFL. Yeah. You know, if you want Tank Jones, you know, why aren't you having an Alabama alum being the one who can make a call or something like that? Doesn't that seem like a little more of keeping it about the program as opposed to about a coach? I see what you're. That's I don't know. I think Saban would be more effective. I mean, Saban is born to do this. He's a master recruiter. I just remember the movie Blindside with Sandra Bullock when Saban walks in and she's like, "That is one handsome man." Remember that line? It's one of my favorite lines. Nick Saban obviously can walk into any living room and recruit. I'd go Saban. I hear what you're saying. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, if Kalen DeBoer's sitting there and you got to get this guy, are you going to send Nick Saban or Mark Ingram? Well, but to be honest, like Nick Saban, so Thomas Castellanos, if you guys are paying attention to that, is the new quarterback for Florida State. Now, coming off the season that they've had, I'm not sure why anyone would be calling their shot from Florida State. This was a devastating season where they had tons of expectations and it completely fell flat. But anyway, he's the new quarterback for Florida State, and Alabama opens their season at Florida State on Saturday, August 30th. And Thomas Castellanos was making some headlines because he said about Alabama, quote, "They don't have Nick Saban to save them anymore." Right? Kind of like what you're saying. Are they just drawing a little bit closer to the pack now, as opposed to, you know, Alabama and everyone else in college football? Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State. You know, there's a couple in that handful, Texas, but Oregon. Are they just like everyone else now? And Thomas Castellanos is saying that.
Yeah,
and
he's right.
Right, and so I'm asking, like, you know, is having Nick Saban, who's not there to save them anymore, he's not wrong about that. You want him out on the recruiting trail not on the trail, but you want him meeting recruits and trying to close the deal there. I don't know if I would do that.
That's so funny. Thomas Castellanos, I don't think most people were thinking about him at Florida State. Talking about taking a guy because he had a good game against you. Remember, he almost beat Florida State.
He did.
And killed a million.
They did win.
Oh, they won that game?
Yeah,
won that
in
game.
Tallahassee.
Yep.
Early in the season.
When Florida State, a couple years ago.
They almost beat them 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they beat them last year.
In BC.
Yes,
Yep.
2 years ago, they almost beat them, yes.
But they beat them last year.
Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm saying, like, anybody, the 8 of us could have beaten them last year. Anyway, regardless, he's not wrong. But the truth is, Alabama should use everything they can because in the NIL world, you just can't do what you used to be able to do. You're going to have to fight harder.
Do you think that Kalen DeBoer is ever going to be able to fully emerge out of Saban's shadow? Because I'm going to be honest, John Shire went a long way this year of making the Final Four, of getting himself out of Coach K's shadow.
Yeah, I think Kalen DeBoer will make a playoff because they're 12-team playoffs. Yes, I think if they give him a little time, in a couple years, I just don't think it'll be every year like it was with Saban. Every single year, it was the number one team. I think those days are gone. I think Kalen DeBoer, took a little time. He hit Penix in Washington. Eventually, he'll find his Penix and his offense. And yes, he'll definitely be a playoff team if they give him time.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. What do you think? Kalen DeBoer going to emerge from the shadow of Nick Saban? Let us know. Also, the worst run franchise in sports. We're watching them cook right now. And it's ugly. And it tastes gross. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
I think we found the worst run team in all of professional sports.
Whoa.
Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Well, I don't think it's like that much of hyperbole when you see the moves that they've been making lately, because they're in the spotlight right now. It's the Phoenix Suns. And I hate to say this on a day when we're doing the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff. I swear all this stuff was done in advance. We do the 4 sports gods of every great sports city in this country. And today we're doing Phoenix.
Yeah.
And it kills us to look at the Phoenix Suns, who have like kind of a, up and down history. They have not been a consistent winner. So to be fair, it is not like they are, this like cornerstone of like American sports or North American sports. But it is sad when you were going through this exercise, Pearl, and I'm thinking about all the great players who have played in Phoenix, and I'm looking at what's going on with the Suns now on the heels of the Kevin Durant trade, and it's just sad.
Yeah, I mean, they did have a pretty consistent run. They've been a good team many, many years. They've never been really a laughingstock until now.
But think about it. This was a team that was in the finals 5 years ago. Okay?
Yeah.
That is not a long time ago. And ever since then, it's been going backwards. And the weird part about it is that usually when an owner gets forced out because they're despicable, which Robert Sarver obviously had a lot of awful things about him as an owner, usually when you get a new guy in for when someone gets forced out, you go up. Like, you have nowhere to go but up. And I'm not sure how things are getting run behind the scenes. Hopefully that's a lot better. But as far as the basketball is concerned, this is not the Washington Commanders, who got rid of Dan Snyder and immediately turned around a franchise and became relevant again, basically overnight. This is not what's happening. In fact, it's going the other way, where Matt Ishbia, the new owner of the Phoenix Suns, is slowly running this team into a ditch. He's now going to have his 4th head coach in 4 years. He made the big trade for Durant, Pearl, like 2 days after it was finalized that he bought the team, and now just had to admit this massive mistake that trades Durant away for pennies on the dollar of what you traded to get him. And beyond that, you still have this Bradley Beal contract, which is not movable because he's got a no trade clause, and you don't have any of your draft picks for the future, so you can't even tank. It is just a disaster with the Phoenix Suns. They may be the worst run franchise in sports right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I mean, forget Bradley Beal and the KD trade. Like, that's happened. There's nothing you can do about it now except maybe buy out Bradley Beal, which I don't mind at all. But this trade is just, the more I think about KD trade, like, this is not going to work out well for Phoenix because Jalen Green, shot 42% from the field. There's so many problems with Jalen Green's game and sort of the way he approaches his game, too. He was supposed to be the next superstar. He's making that team worse. Dylan Brooks, I remember last year, nobody really wanted Dylan Brooks. And then the number 10 pick, I had a friend who said, they got the number 10 pick in an 8-player draft.
It's their own pick that they just got back.
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't acquire anything for the future.
Obviously this is all centered around getting that number 10 pick, but that's a hard pick to nail in today's NBA. I don't think that's going to be the answer. So it doesn't feel like they have it out. You were exactly right. They can't tag. But this trade, as we look back on it, they should have taken another offer. I'm being dead serious. It's so funny. I was thinking about this yesterday. You were worried about Kevin Durant's influence on the young players in Houston. You're getting Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green out of that lot. You're worried about Kevin Durant coming in. You had Dylan Brooks last year. People have forgotten who Dylan Brooks is. He's a wild card.
Well, he's an agitator, right? He's a defensive agitator who on the right team can be that guy who you hate to play against, but you kind of love when he's on your team. But on a team that's going nowhere, I don't know if he has the same impact, right? It's like the Draymond Green. If he was on a different team, if he was on a losing team, does he have the same? He's certainly not a Hall of Famer. And does he actually have the same like gravitas? And does he get the same kind of praise? Probably not.
I don't think that. Actually, I know what you're saying because everyone has made that comparison. I don't think Dylan Brooks is Draymond Green. I think there's so much more positive with Draymond Green. Dylan Brooks he is all those things. But I've always heard like he can be really erratic at times. But anyway, I just think that this Houston, like the Phoenix is going nowhere. Like I don't know how they're out on this. They're going to be really bad for a long time and waste Devin Booker, who's great.
He's in year 11.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the finals, and we thought he was going to be the next face of the league. Remember that conversation we had? And by the way, that sounded right. Like that sounded okay. Devin Booker, he's got the pedigree. He's, finally things are stable, and Monty Williams, and they've got this thing cooking here, and Chris Paul was there, and everything's Mikal Bridges, and it just seemed like it was going in the right direction. And then all of a sudden, because they tried to microwave a title or microwave this idea of getting back to the finals, and they just blew it on every single level.
But by the way, I will say one thing in defense. I'm not sure we knew at the time about Beal. Everyone was nervous about Durant. I mean, again, we're doing it again. There are a lot of people are excited that Durant's going to Houston. I can see getting excited about KD.
Okay, but here was the problem with the KD trade.
Yeah.
KD only wanted to go to Phoenix.
Yeah.
So
did you say this the day the trade happened?
Yes, I did. So KD only wanted to go to Phoenix. When a star does that, they actually screw the team that they're getting traded to, because the Brooklyn Nets are not a great team, but they're not dumb. So they understand, I got you over a barrel. KD only wants to go there. He doesn't want to play for us. So now you have to give us whatever we want. And that's how you end up with a lopsided trade. Even for Durant, who is a good talent, it decimated Phoenix in terms of bench, depth, other starters, 3 stars and nothing else. I mean, I only have one other contender for worst run franchises. Now, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I realize we could go far and wide here. Sea to shining sea, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
I think the New Orleans Saints are also in this conversation as well. And I get it's really hard to move on from a franchise quarterback, and Drew Brees was that guy, and Sean Payton wanted to retire. Now he's back. And I'm sad about what's gone on with the New Orleans Saints. What happened at the end of, and is anyone, would you be shocked if Carr is suiting up for another team at some point this year if there's an injury or something? His retirement seems very flimsy to me.
But that's your problem with the Saints, is Derek Carr retired?
No, one of my most recent problems.
It's so funny you say that. Like, I don't think of the Saints as they're famous, poorly run NFL franchises, the Bengals, the Lions for years. Like the Saints, honestly, be kind of the opposite. Like, they've been really good for many, many years.
Well, that's when you had a franchise quarterback and a great coach to bail you out. And now we see what happens. I think
but they're still kind of average.
Well, the Patriots had a franchise quarterback and coach, and it got bleak for a couple years, but now it looks like they're on the right trajectory here with Drake May. I don't know where the Saints, unless they're going to get the number 1 overall pick this year and Arch Manning comes out, or you get, saved here by another quarterback. I think that they've got a front office that's gotten completely stale.
They've been pretty good.
What's the identity of the Saints?
Well, once Breeze retired, they're like, okay,
they hired Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen was a mistake, but generally,
I
think there are many more poorly run franchises. They're an older team, so they're like, we need a veteran quarterback in there. We might as well go for it here. And now they're doing exactly what you want. They're going young. They're clearly kind of tanking. So what's wrong with that?
Well,
what should they do?
Well, I think that they failed to see anything that was so clearly, obviously coming down the road. Like, think about even with the Derek Carr situation, right? Where Dennis Allen and Derek Carr had a previous relationship with the Raiders. They were the only team who was in on Derek Carr at that time.
I thought the Jets were in on
that
him
was
too.
Before. That was before, when the Jets were deciding between Carr and Rodgers.
Right, and they didn't get Carr. Then didn't Carr jump the gun? And was that when he signed? He said, I'm not going to wait, and I just signed with the Saints.
Also, if the Jets are the only other team that are in on you, come on. I mean, it's not exactly like Sean McVay is also knocking down the door.
Right.
But David Carr is fine for what he was. Like, he had a winning record in New Orleans.
I don't see it with the Saints. I think this is a sad situation.
I don't think Saints fans feel that way about Derek Carr. I know you like him, Pearl, but he was not good.
But he retired. I mean, so you're saying, I'm a little confused. Like, what's the it's the bad thing that you said, like, what happened with Derek Carr? He's gone, so that should be good.
After they already guaranteed him money that kicked in because of the timing of this whole thing.
Is that embarrassing to pay David Carr? Not to me.
Derek
Carr. Like, I think they went for it. Trust me, I think a lot of teams, and watch the next team that signs Derek Carr if he does come back. Like, he was a pretty good statistically quarterback. Like, the logic made sense. They had an older team. They had Cam Jordan, who's awesome. They had, Taysom Hill, my guy. They had Alvin Kamara's not young anymore. They're like, we're veterans. Like, I understand what they were doing. They were trying to win the division. They came really close. Even with a terrible coach, they almost won that division. Remember last year? They came out and they whooped the Cowboys. I'm like, whoa. I was totally in on that team. I'm like, they have a lot of talent.
And then what happened?
But then everybody got hurt.
Okay.
Which happens
with veteran teams, which also you're going to give the Saints some kind of like participation trophy because they almost won the NFC South. That's not winning the AFC West.
But you can't.
It's not winning the AFC North. Like that should have been. I'm not going to give them like kudos for that, or as Joe Beningo would say, kudos.
But I don't think you can lump them in with the Raiders and the Panthers of the world. I mean,
what a disgrace.
The Raiders. There are a lot of teams who have been in much, much worse spots. Like the Saints lost. Drew Brees retired, just like the Steelers, and they've been kind of average ever since. Is that some massive franchise crime? I feel like the Raiders have been terrible for 20 years. The Panthers have been a disaster. The Jets have been a disaster. The Giants have been a disaster. Those teams are poorly run. The Saints are just like, Breeze got old. They put all their salary cap into these older guys. They got kind of pinned behind that. That's the price you pay for success. Like, eventually all that'll clear out. They have Tyler Shuck starting this year. Trust me, if they're tanking.
Well, that's another thing I didn't want to bring up because I think it bores people and their eyes glaze over. But they are in salary cap hell. How?
Yeah.
How are you in salary cap hell when your team's not even good? Like, you should be, the teams in salary cap hell are the ones who are like, how are we going to pay our awesome quarterback and our amazing wide receiver? And we got this other wide receiver who's amazing. And our defensive end is fantastic. And we have a corner that's awesome.
Yeah, they have all that. They've had all that.
What do they have to show for it?
Well,
who's the awesome quarterback? We'll start with there.
Quarterback?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Marcus Lattimore was great forever.
Quarterback.
Oh, quarter. Yeah, so Carr. So they had, like, look at that free agency class. Like, they went for Carr, and they won some games. I mean, listen, their last 5 years, 2020, 12-4, then 9-8 under Payton. Payton left, then they were 7-10, 9-8, and 5-12. Everybody got hurt.
Okay, but how are you in salary cap hell with that
kind
of
return?
Paying,
because they've been kicking that can so far down the road from the Breeze here. But they're
badly run organization.
But they're getting out of all that. I mean, like, you can't possibly say the Saints are as bad as the Jets.
Well, the Jets are a unique kind of bad because they have a lot of embarrassing things that happen that don't tend to happen to other organizations. Like, we shouldn't know that the owner's kids may have said they didn't want a trade to go down because of a guy's Madden rating. Like, that's beyond embarrassing. We just happened to find those things out with the Jets.
Yeah. I just think that they just have way too many wins to be considered the worst run franchise.
Here's a question. The only question I have for you, Pearl, is what if they were not in the NFC South? I think you're pointing to the wins, and I would tell you, in the NFC South, that is super, super inflated.
Well, how many wins do the Panthers have? So the Panthers are better run than them?
The Panthers could also be in this conversation.
Definitely could be in this conversation.
There's no way you can say the Saints are worse run than the Panthers because the Panthers have nothing to show.
Well, no. What they do have to show is they have tanked, right? So they have a young quarterback that they're trying to see if he's the answer. They have some kind of direction. The Saints have zero direction. That's where the difference is.
But no, the Saints have very clear direction. They had Drew Brees, and they're like, well, we have a lot of veterans. Let's try and get a veteran in there. And Derek Carr is very talented. Whatever you guys say about him, maybe he's not a winner at the highest level. And then that didn't work, so now they're going young.
Right, but it's 4 years later. Like I guess to me, I think that's a long time to kind of be aimlessly sitting around the limbo when we saw this team, and anybody who watched them knew they needed to rebuild. It was not smart to sign Derek Carr and think that you were going to be a championship caliber team or a team that was going to make a deep run in the playoffs. That he's never done that.
Well, also, and let's not forget, you're saying like they wanted Carr. You're saying they're going young now. They wanted Carr back.
Yeah.
The retirement blindsided people, right? They still had a roster bonus that kicked in. So I think they still wanted to run this Derek Carr thing back this year. They were not ready to admit that this should be a tanking team and they should be tanking for a quarterback. Anyway, asking you, what is the worst run team in sports right now? Because Pearl has a point. Jets, Giants. I mean, you can look at teams that have 2 wins, 3 wins, stuff like that. Or is it more like the Phoenix Suns? I think the New Orleans Saints are one of those terribly run teams.
Okay.
Can I add a third team here?
Sure, go ahead.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
But what about all those baseball teams who are winning like 8 games a year? Like, aren't they poorly run?
Rockies, White Sox. Now,
how many, Pearl?
Like, I mean, every year they're challenging for the worst record of all time. It's crazy right now. But I don't know if that's on purpose or
it's definitely on purpose. Because I think teams saw what the Astros did, which was be and the Orioles, a historically bad team for a couple of years with 100 losses, multiple seasons of 100 losses. and they got great players in the draft.
Yeah, but it ain't working out for the Orioles right now.
Well,
I digress.
We'll see.
But here's the thing
That
about
hurt.
just real quick back, like Matt Ishbia has done nothing right. Mickey
Yes.
Loomis had built a champion. I mean, like at least he's got the pedigree.
Yeah, but it was
it's-
over a decade ago.
Can you imagine Matt Ishbia winning Executive of the Year?
Never.
So I mean, like it seems like a funny comparison to me. I could get the Panthers and the Suns. The Saints, not at all. I don't understand that connection.
The Suns may have had the worst retooling from a championship team that I've ever seen in the NBA. Like to think that they had a team that was close to winning a championship, and 5 years later they have Jalen Green, another undersized shooting guard who has the worst contract in the NBA, and no first-round picks.
Well, Chris Paul was
that's
old.
Bradley
though.
Beal.
I mean, that's one thing. Like, it's not like they had a young nucleus. They did have Devin Booker, but Chris Paul was 36 or 37
No, but they had
at that point.
Bridges. They had Cam Johnson.
DeAndre
Yeah,
Ayton.
but you take Chris Paul out of that mix, I'm not sure that's a championship team.
You would think replacing Chris Paul shouldn't have been that hard. And they
I mean,
gave
he
themselves
tried with KD.
right, but they
had to give
had
up everybody.
they had no chance once you traded for KD. That's what I was going to say. Like once you traded for KD, you had no chance because now it was like if this team doesn't work, you're screwed because you can't trade Chris Paul for any valuable assets. He has no value. He, like you said, he's ancient.
Also, you forgot all the first-round draft picks that
That's what I'm
also
saying.
went out the
They
window,
have no
too.
draft capital now. They couldn't even get their draft picks back in this trade.
No.
Everyone thought that the Rockets getting all those Nets picks was because, they're going to try to get the Suns their picks back. And then they couldn't even do that. All they can get was number 10 this year.
Right. And what'd you say, Pearl? This number 10 draft pick in an 8-person
Well, that's
draft?
what listen, I
boy.
can't say that. But I do know I watched Jalen Green in the playoffs, and he scored 38 in game 2, and then he scored about 8 points a game the rest of the series and made so many bad decisions, so loose with the ball. Shot 42% for a shooting guard shooting 42% from the field. This is trouble. I know they wanted to move on immediately from him, but I guess they had no takers. So anyway, it's a mess.
Well-
but I totally disagree with you guys on the Saints. That one I'm not with you on.
One last thing about the Phoenix Suns. We're asking what is the worst run franchise in professional sports right now. One of the other bad things about the Suns is this trade that just went down, the Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks for KD. It was made by a new general manager who was just hired, who you can trace Matt Ishbia's relationship back to Michigan State. Like everything goes back to like hiring just somebody you were comfortable with who's never been in this position before, who's now making massive decisions on the direction of the franchise. Yikes. Just because you happen to also be in East Lansing the same time as the billionaire.
Also, by the way, go back to a point that I got yelled at about today a couple weeks ago, and I was going crazy about Brian Gregory being their general manager. I think I was like, this is his first trade. He got Jalen Green and the number 10 pick. This does not look good.
Yeah, he lost the first trade.
Right, he lost the first trade he's been in, and I'm saying this is a failed college basketball coach who's only got this job because he's friends with Ishbia.
Yeah.
This is scary.
By
If
the
I'm
way,
a Phoenix Suns fan, I would wonder if like the next 5 to 10 years are going to be worth my time at all.
By the way, didn't Brady hire his best college friend to run the Raiders?
So John Spytek, they were together in Michigan. yeah. I don't know how good of friends they were, but they were definitely there together. No doubt. The cronyism is off
how
the
do you think
chart.
this works, people?
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. But meanwhile, for the people who root for these franchises, it's painful.
Come on, man.
Anyway, we will do brighter days for Phoenix. The Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff spotlighting Phoenix, Arizona today. The 4 sports gods from Phoenix. We'll do that at the top of the hour. Whoa! Coming up next, a question for you about Caitlin Clark and her fame. That's on tap. 1 sec.
They don't call me Championship Chuck.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Out in Suffolk County, where the sprinklers whine, Bogusch pulls up in a truck that says God likes threesomes on the side. He's got a stash of pamphlets and a Costco-sized loop, preaching Mormon scripture from a fucking hot tub under the moon. He ain't your average bishop, he's a Brigham of Babylon. Spreads a good word while your marriage gets shat on. Got his wives in floral dresses, husband smoking cigars. Call it church, call it chaos, call it swingers and cars. Praise be to Bogusch, the holy three-way sage, turning Long Island lawns into a sexual rampage. Body still AWOL, no text, no goddamn clue. And Sheffy Job's YouTube stream is deep fried dog shit too. Daly's crying in the booth, breaking down this song, while Bogusch shouts, it ain't a sin if it feels this strong. Peter Bellotti no-showed again, the lazy SOB. They say he's stuck in traffic, but he's at Applebee's. There's a board to run, but Pete don't give a shit. Left Maggie on mute in the studio in a pit. Meanwhile, Shep and Gelb are stuck in buffer in hell. Stream offline is their new clientele. They rebooted 3 times and punched the damn wall. You think the FCC banned their whole damn call? Daly's got tissue sobbing like a country bride, yelling why's our text so fucked as his soul damn near died. Bogusch rides by on a sex swing parade with confetti cannons blasting out, repent and get laid. So raise your glass to the Mormon maniac, turning Massa Quad into a freaking snack shack. With Bellotti ghosting like a coward in the night, and YouTube burning down in digital spite. Let the saints and the sinners all scream hallelujah, 'cause Bogusch is coming, and he just might screw ya.
Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good Lord, someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jay Dale's got a history. There's a party downtown.
Gosh, all right.
All right. Got to take you a little behind this into the break. This happens all the time. You're thinking of somebody and you think their name, but Perloff just mistook Alex Jones for Alex Cooper.
By the way, I make a little mistake, and Bogusch is like, let's have a ticker tape parade on Broadway. Nobody gets more excited by little mistakes, and I let yours go all the time.
Listen, if I've ever confused Alex Jones and Alex Cooper, is that her last name?
Yeah.
feel free to. This is great.
I couldn't remember.
Nothing has ever
thing.
been more wrong than that comparison in a very sweet, innocent way.
No. It's like we all make mistakes like this. It's just those two people. Alex Jones is a noted conspiracy theorist and scourge on society, and Alex Cooper is like a chick podcaster who talks about sex and interviews famous people. They're just on very different ends of the spectrum.
And the sentence was, I watched the Alex Jones documentary, and there's a lot of, SEX
I forgot
talk.
Alex Jones
And Maggie
did.
was like, huh?
I was like, from the conspiracy theory? Like, what's the theory? What's the conspiracy theory about sex? And you're like, wait, what's his name again?
Call her daddy.
This isn't making fun of you. You would do this if I said it, if I said that or Bogusch said that. This is not about you. This is about a silly thing.
I don't know. All right. This must be like a millennial thing. You just guys love when somebody's
That was
wrong.
hilarious. I'm not
I think
judging you.
you're like, I confused, like her first name is Alex. It's not that big of a mistake. I just think you guys are like jump on the littlest mistakes and make it into like a huge molehill. A mountain.
You just confused Alex Jones for Alex Cooper. That's like Alex
Oh
Cooper.
my God. Oh, let's stop the show. Like throw out the rundown. Hold on. Wow. Oh my God.
Damn
I
it,
got the
Wyndham.
last
Needed
name
that
wrong.
read.
Gotta print that now. Damn it.
Yeah, wasting some paper.
was in the New York Post, baby.
Yeah, meanwhile, so Bogusch has sent us this story about the New York Post, about a mom's gone wild. Drug-filled high school dance ends with poopy surprise.
was in the New York Post, baby.
It was page 6, baby.
It was. And it was about a bunch of moms going crazy at a post-prom event. And obviously, the poopy surprise was...
It was actually a mom-son dance. It was not the prom. So it was
sorry.
it was like a mother-son get-together. Control-Alt-Delete, baby. No, they wanted to that night.
Oh, good grief.
Control-Alt-Delete the entire story, please.
Yeah, there's drugs, accidents, some tonsil hockey, is that what you said last
Tonsil
hour?
hockey, yep.
Yeah, and some inappropriate, well, everything about this seemed to be inappropriate. And also, making out with a kid's, your son's friend and dancing inappropriately.
Dancing like Alex Jones.
And the cops did show up.
Oh, there
But
you
it was
go.
only because a mom cut her foot on a high heel shoe and had to be sent to the hospital.
I was saying,
always
you sure
say.
it was actual cop? It wasn't like, James Hardon.
We heard there's a problem here.
Yeah. Then he rips off the shirt and it starts gyrating.
You're in custody.
Yeah, someone's been naughty. No,
What are we
real-
going to do about these strippers?
It was real cops from real Long Island, which is when the fantasy is no longer fun.
It was in the New York Post, baby.
Yeah, it was in the New York Post, baby. So there you go. See, Pearl, Alex Jones, Alex Cooper, at least you weren't involved in this crazy situation that happened on Long Island. 2 towns over from Bogusch.
2 towns over. We
We
put
still,
quotation marks.
hey, we still don't have an alibi for Bogey. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Oh, no, we just said baseball diamond.
I don't have
Little
the
League
correct
Baseball.
membership card to get into that town.
I wasn't paying. I was so distraught by the entire story that I have stopped paying attention to.
But we beat that town in baseball last
hey,
night.
11U, let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Well, there's definitely a bigger comment here about more money, more problems with all these rich people, and look at how ridiculous and silly they're acting. But anyway.
I'd take the Bezos yacht over this party in a second.
Yeah, that was the Bezos yacht foam party for the 19-year-old whose birthday it was. We're asking, do you really want to party with your parents? A foam party? Yuck.
Just go to a nice lake house or something.
Or just how about the parents just grow up? No? Am I being too judgmental there?
Bezos grow up? Really?
I know. I guess that's what the 100 billion gets you, is you never have to grow up.
Yeah, literally. You could be like the character in Big. Just spending away, and yeah, that's why you get $1 billion, right? To just
Same perpetual man-child?
Yeah, to be irresponsible.
But also, you've got a yacht with multiple levels. You can have your party somewhere else. You don't need to play tonsil hockey with your second wife at your son's party. Like, let him have his fun. Take some foam down to the Lido deck, like you said, and and do your own thing.
Wait, so it's confirmed that there was like a lot of making out at this Garden City party with the moms and the kids?
It's in the Post,
It
baby.
was at least one, they're saying.
At least one. One is
That's
one too
what they're
many.
saying.
One, yeah,
At least one
6
is
too many.
Sick.
Yes, this was the Private Moms Facebook group post said it was a really nice evening until some moms decided to act like absolute pigs and get stupid drunk, poop on the bathroom floor, do drugs in the restroom, and sneak in alcohol and dance inappropriately.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Shout out to the Long Island moms.
That's a lot in that sentence.
The New York Post, by the way, you know that the teacher gets caught with a student, a woman teacher and a male student. Then it could be like, we invade Iran. That's the second story behind teacher in Louisiana caught making out with they love that story. You know what I'm talking about, folks.
There was one yesterday that came out.
Yeah, no, I know. It's in court.
Yeah, it's
insane.
Well, we all keep clicking on it, guys. I mean, we have to take a little responsibility. If you don't click on that story, then it's not making the front rail of the New York Post.
I mean, every male's going to click, and they're always gorgeous teachers. It's weird.
It's so bad because you look at the comments and everybody's like, well, how come my phys ed teacher didn't look like this? I'm like, sir, this is assault. This is your takeaway.
There's a South Park episode where basically they have this little kid who has an affair with a teacher and he becomes like the #1 American hero. And they're like, you are the coolest. But it's not, I know it's not funny, but obviously the other way is just completely unacceptable.
I mean, it's unacceptable both ways.
Yeah. No, you go to prison.
It will always be the top story of the New York Post because y'all keep clicking on it.
Damn men.
Come on, guys.
Other men.
Wait, actually, I'm curious. Do you not click on it, Maggie? Aren't you a little curious as to what's going on there?
I have no sympathy for men. Perfectly timed, Manny. I don't, because they're all the same story. So I stopped clicking on it because there's nothing, unless there's a different detail, it's always the same thing. It's like, some probably terribly insecure woman who some 13-year-old kid pays attention, 14-year-old kid pays attention to her. It's sad to me. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, it's delusional. It's bizarre. But honestly, a lot of these teachers are very pretty. Can't they date adults?
It's a bad idea. It's something deeper psychologically than that.
Stop clicking on it, Manny.
Yeah, Manny, stop clicking on those 100,000 times.
I am the one that's the most uncomfortable by this entire conversation being the youngest.
He was just in school.
I was in school 20 minutes ago.
That's where he was this weekend. He had to do a couple credits.
All right, a couple credits shy. Let's get to Bogusch, who's got headlines. Enough about bad moms and bad teachers.
I mentioned this at the end of yesterday's show. The young Thunder players didn't know how to open the champagne bottles for their title celebration. They needed help from KG vet Alex Caruso. There's also now video of the amount of champagne and beer that went unused 2 nights ago.
Oh, no.
And then there's this clip of Chet Holmgren describing the goggles he was using to protect himself from the sprayed bubbly.
For now, I got my Michelob Ultra joints, and these work more than fine.
He said Michelob Ultra.
Man, these guys...
Not Michelob.
These guys need a real alcoholic like your boy.
Well,
I love this team.
It'd be funny if they were like, how are we going to get rid of all this beer and champagne? It's like, well, I got Manny's number. Can he just fly into Oklahoma City to polish this off?
You know how many Mich Ultras I've had on the...
Mich Ultras.
Yeah, Mich Ultras over the last 3-4 days. A lot of Mich Ultras.
So does anybody on this team drink?
Apparently not. No fun, nothing.
No, these guys I love these guys. I could have fit right in.
Jalen Williams said that they were using this as like a carrot for him all season long, like he's never had a drink before. And so they're like, once you win, you can finally have your first drink.
And he hated it all. Be a man.
He said he's going to go back to the Shirley Temples. I was like, that's my kind of guy.
Shirley Temple is delicious.
Can you imagine, and maybe you are this, but can you imagine being secure enough not to need alcohol in a social setting? That's insane.
Not at all.
Manny is still drunk from the weekend.
Real quick, EJ, can you explain why when everybody started drinking in their teenage years, you just said no?
I swear to drunk, I'm not God.
I don't like being in a situation where I don't have all my faculties.
Yeah.
That alone is just enough for me to be like, I pass. And then it tastes terrible.
Well, not having all my faculties helped me out this weekend.
It did, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, there's like an elite athleticism part of this too, right? Where aren't these guys just trying to be the absolute peak condition at all times?
Well, my theory is, though, if you're like the best athlete in the school, then you're pretty secure and you don't need it. Like Grant Hill never took a drink because it's Grant Hill.
Right.
But like a skinny, insecure Andrew Perloff needed a drink. So did you, Manny, right?
Fat, insecure Manny also needed a drink.
I don't know. Michael Jordan seems like he drinks. And there's all the footage. I was watching a little of The Last Dance last night.
Drank at halftime.
Well, I was going to say he drink beer after games. I mean, I'm not judging him. I'm just saying.
I don't sense that Brady drinks a lot anymore. He used to drink a lot of beer and he cut it out, right?
Well, that's also a health thing, right? The inflammation.
Right. That's what I mean.
His diet.
He drinks like avocado beer, but
so I'm the only one.
Weird milk.
I was the only one drinking Mich Ultras at 11 in the morning this past weekend.
We were doing a college reunion, right?
Something like that.
That's what they called it.
It was actually Jeff Bezos' yacht party.
It was his house party. It was his lake house.
So many Michelobes, you didn't realize you were in Venice.
Michelobes.
Also, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander didn't seem like he was drinking that much either. And he's Canadian. Like,
no, but did you see his
weaned on beer?
Did you see his interview though in the morning on GMA? He looked gone.
Okay, so
I don't know what he wasn't drinking. He might have been doing something else because he was like, they were like, you played so great. He's like, yeah, it was a great experience.
Shoot,
I'm like, whoa,
no sleep.
The Canadian accent was gone. I was like, what happened to him?
Well, the funny thing was, Maggie and I, because we're parents, we saw Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with this kid out there, and Isaiah Hartenstein with this kid. Like, well, there's going to be a temper tantrum tomorrow. It's going to make this is not worth it. I'd almost rather lose the game than have the fire that's coming their way, because Shea's kid was up till 2 a.m.
So you mean to tell me, by the way, the way Isaiah Hartenstein was holding his baby, that's the correct way to hold a baby, right? I'm not.
Well, yeah. You mean the trophy in one hand and your baby in the other?
Yeah, with the neck just completely dangling.
Yeah, I saw the comments
as
being
if he
like,
had no vertebrae.
grab his neck, support the neck, Isaiah.
I couldn't even see
from
that.
Europe. They don't think like that.
I had to click off. I'm like, I can't. That's too much anxiety of watching anyone else hold a baby. But maybe this is the thing now with young people today.
Where you just don't support the neck of your baby?
No, not drinking.
Oh.
Yeah, because
I've heard that. That's the
weed.
Yeah, it's just onto
We
a
used
different
to
vice.
have to fight to find that. Now it's like everywhere you turn, there's like
Yeah, easy. I don't know what's better for you. But
No, it does feel like I think you're right. I think the trend is away from alcohol, right? That's a huge deal.
And getting to bed early, I think, is the other thing I've seen with young people, like especially young women. I don't know about men. Manny would beg to differ.
And you know what helps us go to sleep early?
Well, I told you guys when I went to that day rave with some younger people, like by the time it was 8:30 or 9, they were like, all right, we're going home. I was like, wait, what?
That's right.
That's even an option?
I might have missed this.
You didn't.
No,
You went to a day rave?
Yeah, in November. I was in D.C. for
We
my
made
best
fun of
friend's
it.
birthday.
Yeah.
You guys made fun of me incessantly.
Yeah, because I convinced you it was not a day rave.
Right.
It was definitely a 24-hour rave.
And I just left
They
early.
just showed up like midway.
I'm telling you, the young people we were with were like, well, we got to go home to get our 8 to 10 hours of sleep. I was like, wow, okay.
They're responsible.
I know.
Yeah, they're called nuns.
I have a bunch of nuns.
Yeah.
This was in November.
Yeah.
This past November.
And you called it a day rave? I would have remembered that.
What else did I call it? Yeah, it was like a day festival. It was like a rave.
Yeah, I remember it.
I think so. We just didn't believe her. That's why you just memory hold it, because we were like, "There's no way this has happened."
You don't remember? It was on Jeff Bezos' yacht.
Yeah, me, Lauren Sanchez, the phone party. Everyone was there. Pearl asking about you. No?
All right, nothing. By the way,
Yeah.
Game 7 got the usual Game 7 boost. The Thunder Pacers finale averaging 16.5 million viewers, peaking at 19.2 mil in the second half. Easily the most watched game of this series and the most watched finals game in 6 years. That being said, the overall ratings for the series down a bit from Celtics Mavs a year ago. Drew Holiday is once again a Portland Trailblazer. The veteran guard spent a week there as part of the Damian Lillard deal. Portland then sent Holiday to the Celtics, who are now sending him back for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks. Boston is saving roughly $40 million in luxury tax payments by doing this and is expected to make other similar moves this summer. Let's begin with the good news for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
The 1-0. There's a swing and a drive. Deep to right field. On its way. Gone. Pavin Smith, a no-doubter to right. His 7th. And he cleans the slate. It's 5-0 Diamondbacks.
Pavin Smith, 2 homers, 4 RBI, and a 10-0 laugher at the White Sox. But stud outfielder Corbin Carroll's going on the IL with a chipped left wrist, the result of a hit by pitch last week. There's no timetable yet for Carroll's return. And then during this win, third baseman Eugenio Suarez took a pitch off his right hand. Josh Naylor hurt his shoulder swinging. Both players left the game early.
Good job on Eugenio.
The Nats outscored the Padres in San Diego 10-6. The Angels used a 4-run 8th to beat Boston 9-5. The Pirates snapped the Brewers 4-game run 5-4. And the Reds down the Yankees 6-1. Ellie De La Cruz, a triple, a homer, 3 RBI, and 2 runs scored.
The Yankees make me so sad.
The chat is wild right now. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. Just a sampling here. Drunkle Sam said, my friend's mom taught me how to slow dance before the prom. Creepy and hot at the same time. True confessions there.
Wow.
And also Easy saying the closest I get to yacht life is drinking a brew on the ferry.
Very relatable.
Very. Okay. Also Easy. Old school athletes drank and smoked a lot. Wade Boggs, 73 Bears, says Andrew.
Yeah, Wade Boggs could do it right. You ever hear the Wade Boggs challenge on?
Well, I saw that somebody brought him a custom-made 73 can sleeve of beer to Fanatics Fest over the weekend.
Wade Boggs was at Fanatics Fest?
I think that's where he was. I mean, maybe he was signing autographs somewhere else, but he looked to be in a convention center behind a desk signing things, and I think there's 3 guys walked up with a huge cardboard sleeve of 73 beers with Wade Boggs written on and everything.
This Wade Boggs challenge can't be real.
Well, there's an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they try and do the Wade Boggs challenge, and they get so drunk that the ghost of Wade Boggs, who played by Wade Boggs, comes and tries to cheer them on. It's a bet. Wade Boggs is hysterically funny.
So, do people know this story? It was a flight.
Someone enlighten the younger audience, please.
Okay.
Wade Boggs played third base for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
Yankees third baseman, right?
Yeah, he played for the Yankees too. But it was a flight. If I'm remembering this correctly, the story is it was a cross-country flight.
Right.
And he drank 73 beers on the flight.
I've seen 107 beers.
That's what I saw too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in Sunny in Philadelphia, they said over 100 beers on a flight, and it goes awry.
It's so filling, though.
That's surprising.
It goes awry. Any Michelob Ultras in there?
You could probably, that's the beer you want to choose, though. It's very
Something light. Oh, yeah, baby.
I feel like
you
your
might as
stomach
well-
would just explode.
You just be drinking them in the bathroom by the end because you just be urinating while you're drinking. It's like a constant flow.
You know how many...
Imagine if they had the return to your seats thing and because of turbulence and you had been drinking 107 beers.
As long as they're lights. I indulge in many blue lights this weekend.
Think about it. Wade Boggs would have drank more than the entire Oklahoma City Thunder probably team and traveling crew and front office like by himself.
I don't think I had 70 beers this weekend.
No. Man, I mean, that's crazy. 888-710-4ISN.
Are you sure?
888-710.
Is that a challenge?
710, it's not.
Say it's a challenge. Say it's a challenge.
Challenge me. I dare you.
Manny off again this weekend.
Challenge me to a duel.
You get it on a 9-hour Amtrak and drink 73 beers. We're going to be plucking you out of a jail in Buffalo somewhere.
Turned into a 12-hour trek yesterday.
That just stinks. Okay, let's get to Caitlin Clark in just a moment. The latest on her fame and celebrity. Would it be as big if not for this one fact? We'll get to that next.
It was in the New York Post, baby.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You jerks are just all mad because I'm going to be the one to shatter Boss Hogg's drinking record.
D, Boss Hogg was a big fat redneck from the Dukes of Hazzard. Wade Boggs is a Hall of Fame third baseman.
Yeah, it's Wade Boggs' drinking record, okay? The man's a legend. He drank 50 beers on a cross-country flight and then absolutely destroyed the Seattle Mariners the next day, okay? That's why we're doing this, to honor his memory, okay? May rest in peace.
The next line is he's very much alive, by the way.
He's very much alive.
He's very much alive. And it turns out that he might have drinking 107 beers on a cross-country flight, according to the interweb.
I mean, I don't even, what do you say? Like, I'm speechless. It's like we talk about the most unbreakable records in sports. It's got to be up there.
The most accurate
First off,
shit by the
Wade
end,
Boggs
you're
is
just
very
standing
much
in the
alive.
bathroom and drinking real time as you're going to be.
It's like a fire hose.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. You just be just
I don't know,
constant.
Manny, you took a 9-hour train ride the other day. Did you have any
Memory,
beverages?
Okay, may rest in peace.
First off, Wade
Yeah,
Boggs
maybe.
is very
That's
much
coming
alive.
out over the air.
Yeah, that was not fun. There was many delays that I had to go through, many alcoholic beverages that were consumed by your boy, and lots of traffic's just standing around, not doing anything in a very, very hot train cart.
Listen.
Amtrak, you guys are animals.
I get you decided to take a train from New York City to Buffalo.
Is
That's
that
like
not
the
a-
Oregon Trail. Like nobody does that anymore. I'm surprised you'd have to get out and shoot your own buffalo.
That's not a thing that people do to get to Buffalo?
No, I didn't even know this existed. And I'm also an upstate New Yorker. Manny and I have, so we know some common areas up there because he went to college up there. I've never even heard of anyone taking the Amtrak from New York City to Buffalo. I'm surprised it didn't take you 3 days.
Good afternoon, Manny Rodriguez, two-time Amtrak traveler from New York to Buffalo. No, it's awful. I told myself when I was a freshman when I first did it that I'd never do it again. And then I went out on vacation with not a lot of money and figured, well, this is the best way to do it. This is the most...
Is it even cost effective though?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
No.
That's the weird thing about the
would-
train. It's oddly expensive.
I would much rather fork over the extra $150 next time and be there in, have my travel be 3 hours than 13 hours. That was not fun. Amtrak. I don't understand how Amtrak is so bad at their job. Isn't it a monopoly? Nobody else, has passengers on the rails and cross-country trips like this, and they don't know what they're doing. But whatever, Amtrak, you fools. I want my money back.
I do not endorse what Manny just said about Amtrak. I love Amtrak.
You do? To get to Philadelphia from New York, that's like 90 minutes.
I love all potential sponsors.
Oh, yes. Well,
Amtrak, do they sponsor shows? So give us that money. Walk it over.
Quickly, let's get to Caitlin Clark here because Joy Taylor, who we know is a Fox Sports 1 host, she was on the Joe Budden podcast and had something interesting to say about Angel and Caitlin and their rivalry that caught our ear. So here's Joy saying that Angel Reese taunting Caitlin Clark during the 2023 NCAA title game was the magic bird moment for women's basketball.
The Magic Johnson, Larry Bird moment for the WNBA. Like, this is great. I'm a storyteller. I think storylines are so important. I think you need villains. I think you need heroes. You need to sell. You got to sell a fight. Like, brand all of this. And it upset white men to watch this strong, winning, unapologetic black woman be in their, be in Caitlin's face.
Okay, so that was the first part of it. Then Joy saying that Caitlin Clark would not be as famous today if it were not for Angel Reese.
It's now like spun to this whole thing where like Caitlin's better than Angel and blah, blah, blah. I just said we would not be talking about Caitlin Clark the way that we do if it wasn't for that moment with Angel Reese. And I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
I was with you until that.
Okay, so everyone's kind of with her about, yes, this was a huge moment. Angel and Caitlin. There was a lot of other things around that. Let's not forget that got people upset. Remember Jill Biden, the first lady, was at the game. And when Iowa lost to LSU, she said, well, can't everyone come to the White House? And it was like, I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. Only the winners go to the White House.
That's funny. I have the same reaction as the people that were with her in the sense that, like, yeah, the magic bird, that makes sense. That rings true. It was a huge moment. The last part feels like, I can't even explain why it feels different. I don't know if Caitlin doesn't. I think she does get there without Angel. That being said, what happened with Angel was massive. The taunting.
Yep.
That was, you can't describe how big that was unless you were there.
No, and it launched 1,000 takes and millions and millions of eyeballs, just to put some numbers behind it. So, obviously things had been growing for women's hoop. The UConn-South Carolina matchup, 4.9 million. Then LSU and Iowa, Pearl, for that game, the taunting game, 9.9 million for that championship. The next year, when they met again in the Elite Eight, LSU and Iowa, Caitlin and Angel again, jumped to 12.3 million. Watch that game. And then the Iowa, Caitlin Clark, South Carolina final was 18.9 million. That's when it outrated the men's championship.
Right. I mean, here's playing a little devil's advocate here. The ratings, people didn't know Angel Reese was going to taunt Caitlin Clark. That was at the end of the game, and the ratings already went up by 200% because of Caitlin. I do think it's kind of hard for me. I think it kind of denigrates Caitlin when you say that she needed Angel in a sense that, like, she is a singular star in many ways. Does it? I mean, when you say like her style of basketball, she was like Steph Curry came to the WNBA. It was a huge deal. To me, it's the way that she shoots more than anything else. It's not her looks or anything. Like, it's obviously like she has this completely new style of basketball.
Right.
I don't know that she needed Angel for that.
See, I always think rivalries help, right? And so I do think that Angel is a big part of, was a bigger part of Caitlin's story. And even now in the WNBA, it's still a thing. But I don't think Caitlin is just a product of Angel, but I do think that rivalry 100% helped get it to a different level. And it's funny, we talk about Magic and Larry, it's never thought of as a negative. Yet when it's Angel and Caitlin, it's almost tinged with like this negativity that I don't really understand. Like, but no one says Magic and Larry wouldn't have existed without each other, and no one's wouldn't have been a bigger deal.
But that 9 million number had nothing to do with Angel and Caitlin. The rivalry hadn't started yet, so there was already something going on.
That's fair. 888-710-4ISN.
First off, Wade Boggs is very much alive.
Out in Suffolk County, where the sprinklers whine, Bogusch pulls up in a truck that says God likes threesomes on the side. He's got a stash of pamphlets and a Costco-sized lube, preaching Mormon scripture from a fucking hot tub under the moon. ain't your average bishop, he's a Brigham of Babylon. Spreads a good word while your marriage gets shat on. Got his wives in full dress, his husband smoking cigars. Call it church, call it chaos, call it swingers and cars. Praise be to Bogusch, the holy three-way sage, turning Long Island lawns into a sexual rampage. Bloody steel AWOL, no text, no goddamn clue. And shipping Job's YouTube stream is deep fried dog shit too. Daly's crying in the booth, breaking down this song, while Bogusch shouts, it ain't a sin if it feels this strong. Peter Bellotti no-showed again, the lazy SOB. They say he's stuck in traffic, but he's at Applebee's. There's a board to run, but Pete don't give a shit. Left Maggie on mute in the studio in a pit. Meanwhile, Shep and Gelb are stuck in buffer in hell. Stream offline is their new clientele. They rebooted 3 times and punched the damn wall. You think the FCC banned their whole damn call? Daly's got tissue sobbing like a country bride, yelling why's our text so fucked as his soul damn near died. Bogusch rides by on a sex swing parade with confetti cannons blasting out, repent and get laid. So raise your glass to the Mormon maniac, turning Massa Quad into a freaking snack shack. With Bellotti ghosting like a coward in the night, and YouTube burning down in digital spite. Let the saints and the sinners all scream hallelujah, 'cause Bogusch is coming, and he just might screw ya. Maggie's rolling down the highway, feeling kinda rough. Last night's dinner, fighting back, oh man, it's getting tough. She grips her wheel, but it's too late, oh no, here it comes. Her Yeti Angel's holding water, now it's holding chunks. Oh, Maggie's puking in her car. The Yeti bottle's gone too far. Her toothbrush ain't gonna make it through. Perloff's calling hazmat, man, it's true. She stumbles into the studio, trying to play it cool. Perloff takes one whiff and screams, this ain't in my job rules. He's climbing on the desk, he's spraying Lysol in here. Says I need a full decontamination, get me out of here. Oh, Maggie's puking in her car. Yeti bottles, a biohazard scar. Toothbrush soaked in bleach all night. Perloff's in a hazmat suit and fright. Bellotti, oh, he still ain't here. Probably at home, drinking a beer. WM's in a toxic state, but he's still on vacation, must be fake.
45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
We're asking today, what is the worst run franchise in all of professional sports? Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. The Phoenix Suns have to be on this list.
Wow.
They may be number one.
With the NBA draft going on and NBA free agency, maybe it's recency bias, but I love the way we're just dismissing all the baseball teams are challenging for the worst record of all time. You say that's by design.
I think it is. The White Sox, what's going on with the Colorado Rockies. Like, there's a method here. Yeah. It's painful. It's awful. The fans don't deserve to sit through that. No. But you watch what happened with the Astros, the Baltimore Orioles to a certain extent, and you see that all that losing potentially pays off, right? And it sucks for baseball fans.
EJ brought up the Pirates. I mean, they're not trying to win. They're just trying to take that national money and survive, and that's bad too. But it's almost like those teams are so bad, they're not trying to be good. Matt Ishbia and the Suns are trying to win a title.
Yeah, so you could say, well, what's worse, right? Yeah. An owner that at least was trying but can't get out of his own way. And we're talking about the new Suns owner because this was a team that was in the finals 5 years ago. And it looked like with Devin Booker, they could have been on this potential rocket ship. And now what's happened? Everyone in the West has gotten better. They've made multiple bets that haven't worked out with big names, and they've done it all wrong, right? They've gone about it in the wrong way. Everyone knew that Bradley Beal trade was going to be disaster from the moment. Kevin Durant, maybe he didn't know it was going to be a disaster, but the philosophy behind it was so flawed because KD would only go to Phoenix, which put Phoenix in a tough spot because they had to pay whatever price it was that Brooklyn wanted.
I think that's a little bit of Monday morning quarterback on Bradley Beal. Yeah, everyone thought it was a ton of money, but Bradley Beal was thought of as a really good player. Really good. Like elite.
That's fine. The contract is terrible, and the contract didn't stop being terrible.
But
and
I think
the no-trade clause that followed him from Washington to Phoenix was like, you're asking for the albatross. Like, we know it's coming.
Can you at least admit that Bradley Beal turned out even worse than we would have imagined? I mean,
he's not even starting, and they can't move him, and it's just everything about it is disastrous. So you're welcome to weigh in on which franchise do you think is right now the worst. Now, EJ's Jets, very good. I mean, good case.
Definitely. They're one of the worst. There's no question. Rodgers thing was a disaster. The ownership situation is a disaster. There's not many positive things to look at for them.
There's something you can set your watch to, which is every year, just days after the season ends, we get some kind of expose on the Jets' dysfunction. Like, all the reporters basically have it ready to go. And then they just publish on the latest Jets disaster. So it could be the Jets. They're definitely up there. I think that New Orleans Saints also get into this conversation as one of the worst run teams. They're in salary cap hell. They've got nothing to show for it. Yeah. And I just think in that division, how they've not been able to compete, it's just crazy to me.
We have early poll results. We put up the worst run organization in the NFL. Jets, Jets, baby, 66%. Then Panthers, 23%. Raiders, 8%. Saints, 2%. Saints don't belong on this list even.
I'm so happy. This conversation used to be heavily centered around the Knicks, and now it's no longer.
I don't know. Nice.
Don't worry. Just wait 5 minutes.
Stop.
Who's your coach?
Stop yucking my yums. We'll be fine. Yucking my yums.
By the way, the Bengals, interesting.
But they just made a Super Bowl. It's almost like it hasn't gone as bad as Phoenix.
But the way they do things is completely wrong. I mean, listen, at least the Saints have a ring in the building. They have a Lombardi trophy in their trophy case. What do the Jets have? There are a lot of teams that have never won anything.
Well, the Jets won in 1969. I mean, it's been a while.
Oh, right.
Joe Namath. No, but I mean, fair. It's been a long time.
I mean, obviously, I think maybe because Bryce Young played better in the second half of the season, but the Panthers were the train wreck of the NFL with David Tepper. There's no doubt about that.
You definitely can't have your owner throwing a drink in somebody's face.
Oh, really?
That's not great.
And also, the Raiders have Tom Brady and Pete Carroll now, but for a long time, that was off the rails.
No doubt.
But that Mike Mayock, John Gruden era was terrible.
It's just, there's so many to choose from here. But currently, right now, who do you think is the worst run franchise in sports? 888-710-4ISN. Now, we have a little bit of a yin and a yang here because we're also doing the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff. And today we hit Phoenix.
It's time to feast your ears on Maggie and Perloff's Mount Olympus.
Okay, so on a day we're ripping Phoenix, just the Suns. We're also asking who are the 4 sports gods from that city. In some ways, it's kind of perfect, Pearl, because...
Yeah, keep it positive.
Right. We Talk about the good times.
Why did you start today? I struggled with this city. It was hard. It was hard to narrow it down to 4.
Oh, well, hard to narrow it down, sure. But there were plenty of amazing options. And in fact, I left one person off who I do feel badly about. But let's get to it.
Hit it, Meg.
The 4 sports gods from Phoenix, Arizona. Let's start with Diana Taurasi, who just recently retired, a 3-time WNBA champion, Phoenix Mercury from pillar to post. Maybe the greatest, depend 1, 2, 3 where she is on just your Mount Olympus of women's basketball players, but she is certainly a sports god in Phoenix with all of the success that she had with the Mercury. That's number 1. Number 2, Larry Fitzgerald, the consummate Cardinal. Through different quarterbacks, some good, some terrible, made a Super Bowl, one of the great Super Bowls. Amazing electric finish in that Super Bowl that, unfortunately didn't go their way. But Larry Fitzgerald staying in Phoenix despite some of the, just no-name quarterbacks after Kurt Warner. He could have asked for a trade at any time, stayed loyal. Larry Fitzgerald is the number 1 Arizona Cardinal. He is a sports god in Phoenix. Now I have 2 basketball players for you, Pearl.
Oh, wow.
I've got your pal, Charles Barkley.
Love it.
Only 4 years in Phoenix, but
He's
MVP and going to the finals in 1993. Yes, it wasn't a long tenure in Phoenix, but for the heights that they reached with the Phoenix Suns with Charles Barkley, he has got to be a sports god in Phoenix. And he still lives in Phoenix. I think he splits time between Phoenix and Atlanta. So still very much in the community. Got to be Barkley.
Well, you can't be calling yourself playoff P and lose all the time.
You want to finish that out?
They don't call me Championship Chuck.
Got closer in Phoenix, though.
Come on, man.
Than anywhere else. And then I'll go with Steve Nash. Steve Nash, the 2-time MVP. And yeah, it wasn't the only place he played. And that team was so fun that 7 Seconds or Less Suns became a national story. And Steve Nash was at the helm. They played a completely different style. They got absolutely screwed and hosed. They should have been in the finals. If it wasn't for Amari Stoudemire leaving the bench and getting suspended for it, still one of the all-time blunders, black marks on the NBA. That should have never happened. Steve Nash, your 4th sports god of Phoenix.
Wow, that's interesting because there's a very tall person you left off.
I know.
I'm very surprised. Okay, I have some similar ones. I have Charles Barkley. I had about a 20-minute debate in my head whether to go with Barkley or Nash. Because I'll give you a sneak preview. Nash did not make mine.
Wow.
Barkley, and this is probably because that Suns team was one of my favorite teams of all time. I just think they hit a higher high, even though they didn't win the title, than Nash ever did in Phoenix. They really, really challenged the Bulls, and that was one of the great finals of all time. Won an MVP. Nash won 2 MVPs, so I get it. Charles obviously lives in Scottsdale, too, so I think I'm not sure. Nash does not live in Arizona, I don't think. So I'm going to give Charles a little bit of a boost for that. Larry Fitzgerald, can't argue with that, of course. Amazing what he's done there. Just the consistency at Arizona. Again, high, came so close to winning a Super Bowl. Then I went with Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Multiple Cy Youngs, and of course, they did win a title. I think when we've been doing this Mount Olympus project, winning a title to me gives you a little boost over everybody else. So it was really easy for me to do Randy Johnson. Then I had 1 spot left. And I'm sorry, probably win the poll because of this one, but how can you not put Pat Tillman on there? The dude's got a statue. Arizona State, Arizona Cardinals, and then, of course, famously left the NFL to enlist with the Army. It just feels like sports gods, such a legend in that area that for me, it was an easy choice. With that, we're not talking about sports accomplishments necessarily. It's a much bigger picture. But Pat Tillman, very tied to that particular city. It felt like an easy choice.
It's a great choice. Actually, EJ knows because we send EJ our lists because we don't want each other to see them. And he knows I wrestled with that one. And what I finally came down to with Pat Tillman is it felt so much bigger than sports, like what you just said. Yep. It was what he's remembered for is not being a special teams guy for, the Arizona Cardinals or whatever. Like, he is just remembered for the sacrifice that was just so much bigger. Yeah. So I was like, does it fit on the Mount Olympus? But now that you say it, it does seem like, how could you have a list without him?
Yeah,
it's a good call by you.
No, listen, I had the same debate because we've been sticking mostly to sports, although there have been a lot of people that have made the list for other reasons.
Absolutely.
So I just felt like the tie-in with Phoenix made it strong. And listen, I love all your choices too. I looked at as well. Can I tell you one that I left off?
Yeah.
Two that I left off.
Go ahead.
And this is your relate. I didn't put Jerry Colangelo, who's owned everything there. I think every team
is he beloved there though?
I mean, he should be. He won so he owned the Diamondbacks, right? And he owned the Suns.
Well, definitely the Suns.
I think the Colangelos owned the Diamondbacks, and his family, Brian, did the Olympic stuff.
Yep.
So you think Jerry, but just like sports guy in the sense of like he is built the sports scene there.
No doubt. I mean, one of the biggest figures. I just couldn't tell where his standing was with the Phoenix community. I don't know.
Well, again, if you're looking historic, the Colangelos aren't beloved there?
I would assume they are.
What?
I mean, Brian Colangelo definitely is not, and he's gone completely away, right?
Yeah, but he's more hated in Philly than Phoenix.
But think about it, never got another job.
I mean, that Philly thing was bad. I'm not surprised.
I mean, he got to take over after the process. That couldn't have been any worse. They were losing on purpose.
Well, when your Italian wife is on message boards arguing about your collar length, that's how you didn't lose your job.
Remember, she had a burner account, right?
Yeah.
That got smoked out. God. Remember that was a thing?
Yeah. I think Jerry's a legend, though. I mean,
I feel like
basically
Jerry's like
revitalized
the all-time
sports
NBA
in
legend. And I think
Phoenix.
he brought hockey and he brought baseball there.
Yeah.
So I would think, and then Lute Olson too, Arizona, that's about like an hour and a half away, Tucson. I didn't feel Phoenixy enough for me to put Lute Olson. I wanted to represent the Arizona basketball, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I just thought, well, it's a little different than Phoenix.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Phoenix to me. Now, we did a Green Bay Milwaukee thing that was kind of, I did an Oregon State to Portland thing. So there's a lot of latitude you could have there. Lute Olson would have been a perfect one. But what do you think, guys? Phoenix. So we both had Larry Fitzgerald on. And I think it is a no-brainer to put Larry Fitzgerald for a Cardinal. But is Kurt Warner not on? More St. Louis, I'm sure. But Arizona?
Nah.
He didn't cement the Hall of Fame quarterback. But I don't know if he's definitely a Hall of Fame quarterback. Probably with just what he did with the Greatest Show on Turf. But taking another team to the Super Bowl, you lose to the Steelers. There's no shame in that. It was an all-time great game. A Santonio Holmes catch lives forever. That cemented the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he makes the Hall of Fame without that Arizona run.
No, but that doesn't mean that he jumps into the top 4 Phoenix athletes. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it was definitely big for Kurt Warner. I think if you make it 8, then he'll make it. But top 4, come on, Randy Johnson. And by the way, Schilling, you don't want to talk about it now, but Kurt Schilling also big part of that was a massive title. They beat the New York Yankees. Remember that, Manny? Maybe you're too young.
No, actually, I was 3 years old.
Luis Gonzalez was the...
You're lucky.
That was heartbreaking.
And Luis Gonzalez, by the way...
With the moment off Mariano.
Yeah, he probably deserves some consideration as well. He was there a long time.
I have bad things to say about those men.
Well, I mean, they beat you fair and square.
No.
So... I don't know.
Where did Paul Bissonnette rank among these Phoenix legends?
Right there. Phoenix podcast legend.
I think one guy I think that it won't be mentioned but probably should be is Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, no, he was a big deal.
Awesome point guard. He was a point guard that led them to the final with Charles Barkley. I think people forget how good he was before Barkley got there. He was 20 and 10
great
guy.
all-time dunks too on Hakeem.
Yeah, the nightmare they called it, like the Nigerian nightmare, where he dunked on Hakeem Olajuwon in the playoffs. Like he was a great player.
He's had a wild post-NBA career.
Yes,
I was going to say, I think the part of the reason is I'm just doing this off the fly, that he was disgraced, right? As the mayor of Sacramento, right? Right.
And he's married to Michelle Rhee, who's like a gigantic person in the education field. That's a very serious. I think there's a lot going on with what happened to him politically.
Okay, I'm doing this off the fly. There was a sexual assault allegation against him. So I don't know if that. Listen, we do these sports gods. It's good to acknowledge people, but I don't know if he would have made the list. I said to Perloff yesterday, I said Dan Marley, and he laughed at me. I was like, I think Dan Marley is still a huge deal.
No, Marley's alone. If you want to put a bar, that was Dan Patrick's favorite bar. Like, what's the famous bar there? Downside Risk. That there's Marley's. I always hear about these Phoenix bars, and yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot going on in the sports scene. Scottsdale feels like a very sports city. There have been multiple Super Bowls. I think there was a Final Four there. Phoenix is a big sports town.
Absolutely. So doing the 4 sports gods of Phoenix again, recap, I put Diana Taurasi, Charles Barkley, Steve Nash, and Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I have Barkley and Fitzgerald. Then I have Pat Tillman and Randy Johnson.
What did we get right? What did we get wrong?
Can't believe you guys omitted Jeff Hornacek.
He was huge.
Former Sixer.
He's a good player there.
But that Suns team just couldn't get over the top. And it would be so easy if they just won a title.
Oh, Amari Stoudemire if they'd won a title?
Sean Marion. That too. And Sean Marion. Both of them.
But the Barkley team was the best. But they had that guy, Richard Dumas. Anyone remember him?
Yeah.
Love that team.
Whatever happened to that former son, Shaquille O'Neal?
That was quick.
Shactus.
You know what? I always say this. I'm like, the NBA is better when the Phoenix Suns are good, and I think today it really drives that home. That Barkley team was super memorable that went to the finals. The Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire team, they're different, they're memorable, and it's great. And then we just don't get nearly enough of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know though. The NBA's that's reserved for the Raiders and the Yankees. I feel like the NFL is better when the Raiders are good. I've heard that.
That I'll say it for the Raiders
Suns?
too, because the Suns are always interesting when they become good, and the uniforms are sick.
Yes,
and they
definitely have the best uniform, one of the best uniform histories of all time.
Oh, without a doubt.
And they have a mascot gorilla.
Not anymore.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Remember we talked about that one.
Yep, that one had to go by the way of.
He got canceled.
Yep.
By the way, the black Suns uniform, the 90s Sun uniform, maybe the best NBA uniform of all time. Charles Barkley rocking that black alternate
with the big orange sun right across the chest.
Sun across. I have a Jason Kidd jersey with that one because it's so.
I'm going to hell.
That is fire.
I mean, this is a team that made purple look really good, which is can be a tough color to pull off for some sports teams, but they do it well. Kings do it well. TCU, some others. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. What do we get right? What do we get wrong about the 4 sports gods from Phoenix?
We're going to send it to Galveston with that dirty-ass water.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back. Maggie and Perloff Show. Mount Olympus of Phoenix Sports today. 4 sports gods from Phoenix. I went with Charles Barkley, Randy Johnson, Pat Tillman, and Larry Fitzgerald. Maggie?
You and I are lockstep on Larry Fitzgerald and Charles Barkley. I put Steve Nash as one of my 4 sports gods and Diana Taurasi from your Phoenix Mercury.
You're very hoops heavy.
I am. And it's funny because I don't think really of Phoenix as a basketball town, but
I kind of do. I kind of do because
and in Arizona, University of Arizona.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks are newer. But I can't believe you didn't put a baseball player in there. That was a great team. Remember?
Listen, Randy Johnson, there's nobody more intimidating. I don't even know how people stepped in the batter's box with that guy. And he was incredible for the Diamondbacks.
It actually spent a lot of time, more than I thought.
Could have been our Seattle Mount Olympus,
Yeah,
too, Randy
definitely.
Johnson. Let's get to you guys. You've got some
Not
issues.
a great Yankee, though. Not a great Yankee.
No, he hated New York. But didn't anyone know that was going to happen? This guy was not a New Yorker. And that's fair. We missed somebody huge, and you guys want to tell us about it. Adam is in Vancouver, British Columbia. What's up, Adam? What do we miss?
Good morning, guys. I'm surprised. Well, first off, I'm glad you guys mentioned Paul Bissonnette as an honorable mention. That was good. But I can't believe you guys left off a 20-year veteran of the NHL, Shane Doan. The guy was nothing but loyal to the Coyotes, had so many chances to leave, and he didn't. And then he stayed and worked front office with the Coyotes, and they even drafted his son. So I think Shane Doan should be on that list.
But who do you kick off?
I would take off Steve Nash.
Yeah, wait, you're from Vancouver. You can't kick off Steve Nash.
I'm sorry. I'm not a big basketball fan. Yes, I love Steve Nash, great Canadian, but I don't know. I would take off Steve Nash and put on Shane Doan.
Adam, thank you for that. You're not the only one. Mike in Syracuse also saying we miss Shane Doan. What's up, Mike?
This is true. I mean, he was you have to realize that franchise moved from Winnipeg, and he was the last first-round pick for the initial Winnipeg Jets franchise. So he sort of transitioned, and he was one of those people that helped Phoenix, sort of get acclimated to the sport of ice hockey. And without players like that, you might not have an Austin Matthews.
Right.
So on my Mount Olympus, I had Larry Fitzgerald, Louis Gonzalez, Shane Doan, and Steve Nash. But when I came to Steve Nash, this one image just kept coming into my mind as a Phoenix basketball player, and that's the inaugural slam dunk champion, Larry Nance Sr.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Remember, he dunked with
Whenever
two
I see him,
basketballs.
I see him in those less than flattering short shorts with the setting sun coming up from the bottom of the pant leg, rising up above everybody and throwing it down.
Damn.
So yeah, but I did want to say, Phoenix Coyotes may be a little bit of a distant memory. They're still a non-active franchise. The Utah Mammoth are a different franchise, according to the way that they look at things. So there's a chance, Dumb and Dumber, they could come back.
Yeah, so you're saying there's a chance, Mike.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
When you're talking about mismanaged franchises, that the Phoenix Coyotes have to be probably the biggest one.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, Mike...
We got a team, just no place to play.
Considering they're now defunct and they've moved now to Utah, you're right. They should be on this list for the worst franchises in pro sports. Okay, so a lot there. So obviously, Shane Doan, who did not make either of our lists, Captain Coyote, understanding that he was a captain for 14 years in Phoenix. He was their leading goal scorer basically every single year he put on a uniform. We understand what Shane Doan means to the community.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When you call in, you got to kick off somebody, though. And Steve Nash is, to me, I mean, you could make a great argument for Steve Nash, so I'm not going to really buy that one.
I'm surprised that Steve Nash would be the first one to go over Barkley. I know that Nash didn't make the finals, but to be honest, he should have made the finals. They lost that Western Conference final to the Spurs. That got
that feels like a stretch. But the reality is that not only did he not win a title, he didn't even make the finals. I mean, my guy Randy Johnson won a title.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But, I always thought Jason Kidd also was a really huge figure in Phoenix, but no, not a lot of winning.
Kind of didn't end well.
It didn't end well.
There are a lot of NFL players from Phoenix. You guys ever notice that? It seems to pump in a lot of NFL. If you're doing and one that jumps to mind is I always love the fact that Ryan Fitzpatrick is from Phoenix because he looks like he's from Tennessee, right? With that gigantic beard.
Yeah, was it Gilbert?
Yeah. That's
Brock Purdy territory.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy's from Arizona. There's Kyle Allen, I remember, was the number one recruit out of Arizona. It has a really rich sort of high school sports for everything. Probably because you can play year round, but if we were doing and we mentioned Phil Mickelson at Arizona State, there's just there are a lot of people from Phoenix, but we're not doing that.
Well, Chris is in Vancouver, wants to talk about Phil Mickelson. You believe he should be on this Mount Olympus for Phoenix athletes, Chris?
Yeah, I think so because he did win 3 Haskins Awards for what he did in Arizona State. He also won 3 individual NCAA awards as well. He also led his team in I think it was 91 or 1990 to a championship. So I mean, his resume speaks for himself. You guys make this so hard, by the way, because you guys always come up with the people. We gotta somehow change your guys' minds. But first things first, I do want to say we don't claim Adam in Vancouver. Steve Nash is an absolute legend over there. All right, so we're not
from Vancouver. Help me out here, Chris.
No, he's from Victoria, which is Vancouver Island.
Got him. So close enough to claim him.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, you guys make this tough. Anyways, and I just want to say, this is the greatest segment in all sports. I don't actually ever call in radio shows, but for some reason I'm locked on this one. And, you guys, I don't want this to ever end. I know it's ending soon. We can even go to Botswana. I don't care where we go next, but don't stop. Thanks, guys.
Chris, thank you for that.
It's going to be November. We're like, all right, the Mount Olympus of Topeka sports gods. Getting lower and lower. Nothing wrong with Topeka, by the way.
No, so, I mean, should we talk about this a little bit?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so...
Are we doing a production meeting right now?
This feels like bad news.
On-air production meeting, everybody, and everyone listening. You're now invited to the meeting. As if you don't have enough meetings in your
Yeah,
life.
should
Here's
we
another
talk about this? Sounded like, uh-oh.
Right.
We're about
your
to get
parents
lectured.
are like, guys,
Come on here in the living room and sit down.
Yeah,
Your father and I have something very important to tell you. We love you both.
So Molly started it.
We love you both. Oh.
This doesn't change our love for you.
It was on the post.
It's definitely your fault.
Who was pooping on the bathroom floor? Sorry, that was Mom. No, that was a callback from a different story.
You're the only mom here, too.
I know.
I'm just laughing. It's definitely your fault. You're an evil person, Andrew Bogusch. I think it's underrated how purely evil Bogusch is.
Not purely evil.
He brought us the story
Sneaky
about
evil.
partying moms in Long Island.
Right.
that-
I didn't do the partying with kids. I just told you the story.
I know,
that was
but
in
it
the
seemed like
post,
you were
baby.
maybe peeking through a gymnasium window.
He just had a scenario.
I'm not peeping Tom.
We're doing a scenario where you're sitting your kids down to tell them you're divorced, and he said it's definitely your fault.
Because every conversation is, it's not you. It's not your fault, kids.
It's not your fault. It's just we were extremely happy before you got here, and everything seemed fine.
It's a coincidence.
Anyway, okay. So this is where we were meant to go with it. The segment has become a fan favorite, and we've liked it too. The Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from all these great cities. So we were going to end it this week, but because there's still amazing cities to do, and because you guys seem to enjoy it, we are going to extend it into next week and even a little bit beyond. So we're excited. We're going to add more tour dates for you and some cities that we just could not leave out. So we'll announce those a little bit later. I know. Hey, we did something and you liked it. So we're going to do more of it.
I love it. You know, it's funny, too.
And we're getting divorced.
Are we
And Dad's about to live in
2 Christmases.
In an extended stay America on the side of the highway.
You know, next time we do this, Mount Olympus, I believe, had 12 gods on it, too.
No, this is not like the college football playoff. We're not just going to expand and expand and expand just for the hell of it.
I mean, if we're going to do 12, we might as well do 16, right? Who's with me?
As long as we're getting paid like the college football playoff, then we'll keep expanding. Let's get to Bogusch, who's got headlines.
Guys, the Pacers have confirmed a torn right Achilles for Tyrese Halliburton. There's no official timeline for his return, but it's likely Halliburton misses all of next season. He shared a post-op picture on social media, writing that the frustration is unfathomable, but he would play Game 7 on his compromised right leg again if given the opportunity. And did you notice again, Pearl, like Jason Tatum, another huge wrap cast thing? It's the first thing I saw.
Yeah.
On his right leg. You were perplexed why Tatum's leg was so huge and
Oh,
the
yeah.
bandages are so big.
No.
Same thing
you
for
gotta send me
Halliburton.
that. You got to send me that. Well, like, and then that led to how big would the cast have to be on Maggie's feet?
Right.
You have to be like, you have to call in for extra plaster.
What's that? Whatever's the size of Bezos's yacht. About that.
Bogusch, you miss it. Were you there in the newsroom when we had the long conversation about why there's so many Achilles tears?
I was at the tail end of it this morning.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that still is anybody. Have you guys heard one like solid answer to explain the rash of Achilles tears in the NBA?
Oh, EJ's got some theories.
Yeah, I got a bunch. Well, the main one, I do think that I think pace of play is big, more possessions in games, but to combine with pace of play, style of play, I think is also a big deal. Because,
above the rim?
Yes, and it's not even just above the rim. It's just how dynamic these athletes currently are. Like, I implore people, if you want to try to maybe figure this thing out, just turn on a basketball game from 1998. And I promise you, it's not even talking about what's better or what's worse. That's not even what I'm talking about. Just look at how they're playing. It's a lot more structured. Guys aren't taking the physical risks that these guys are taking now, where they're just plunging to the basket. It's just totally different. It's more physical, But the way these guys are playing, almost because it was more physical, they weren't taking the amount of risk with their bodies. It is just a different style of basketball. I watched a 10-minute clip of Tim Duncan highlights against the Knicks in the 99 finals. Nobody can get hurt playing that way.
Okay,
it's literally impossible.
But what about the above the rim guys? Dominique, Jordan, Dr. J. They didn't tear Achilles.
But those guys were anomalies. I could find the fifth guy on the Raptors bench that could do the things Dominique was doing. Like, that's just a reality of where these athletes are right now. Like, those guys are very... Like, Shane,
fifth guy on the bench, you could do what Dominique did. Dominique would get up in the air and check his watch and then dunk on your head. Who's this fifth guy doing that? I just watched the finals where there's like 2 dunks the entire series. Tyrese Halliburton dunked 4 times his entire career. What are we talking about?
Obi Toppin is a backup player.
Obi Toppin's the one guy who can dunk in this whole series.
Because look at all the guys that have won the dunk contest the last 10 years. They're all backups. So there are way more guys that are asked to do way more different things. And I think the way we're teaching these kids how to play, it's not just dunking. It's beyond that. It's the way these guys are dribbling, the way it's just different. And I think it's putting these guys' health at risk. I really do.
But obviously, like the Achilles has nothing to do with dunking because it's Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton who are very specifically non-dunkers.
Yeah, it's not even just about dunking. It's literally just
back and forth.
Back and forth. The speed. It's just the game was played differently. It looks way safer if you watch a game from 20 years ago.
But I think also KD, like these guys are skinny. Is that possibly? They're all so thin.
It's definitely a possibility too. I've been saying I think everything needs to be looked at. I also was talking to my brother a long time about this last night, and I go back to this article I read where doctors who were evaluating players entering the NBA draft, they were speaking on background because obviously they can't talk on the record, but they said just the wear and tear damage they were seeing on these guys' feet and knees, they look like players that had played 10, 15 years in the NBA. These are guys These are guys entering the NBA, college, guys coming from Europe, guys coming from the whatever, G League, Ignite, or whatever. Like, these are young players. And just because of all of the youth basketball that they're playing, the year-round sports, the specialization, these guys are coming in damaged goods already.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of this, too.
Because that's the thing, too, where you feel like as a parent, you have maybe a tiny bit of control over that, keeping your kids playing multiple sports. But, Bogusch, you're in it right now with youth sports. Like, you get it. If your kid wants to play baseball all year round, you want to make them happy, and you just love that they have a hobby.
Yeah, and also, too, you have to figure out as they get older, like, are they actually, like, trained correctly, and are they stretching, and are you doing anything after the fact, like after he pitches or after he does that, like are you icing this, or you're stretching that, like because at some point they're not kids anymore physically. You need to, like, when you're 9 and you're not really max efforting things, like no big deal,
right?
But now when you're like 11, 12, and you're throwing puberty in the mix at some point, then it becomes a whole other thing of like, are you actually putting these kids out there in the best like physical state to be playing?
And these skills trainers, like, and I'm not trying to diss them because they make money and they're great at what they do, but these skills trainers the kids are working with, they're trying to get these players to basically play like Kobe Bryant. I mean, if you look at these highlights, I was thinking about Jalen Green the other day. Like, you look at the stuff he's doing in high school, it just can't be healthy to be doing 360 windmills and doing, 30-foot step backs at 16 years old. There's no way. And you didn't see guys playing like that 30 years ago, but they're being trained to be the next Kobe, the next elite athlete. Again, Zion Williamson, a guy 300 pounds, jumping like Dominique Wilkins. You think that's healthy for a guy's body? No, it's not. But those players didn't exist 20, 30 years ago. If they did, they were anomalies.
So now it's okay. Like, I feel like you just let Zion off the hook by putting him in with everybody else.
I'm not.
Listen, you date as many YouTube stars as you want, all right? It was never going to happen. Sorry, what's it? OnlyFans.
Yeah. I just think
it's
like
a particular part of the
Alex
internet.
Jones, Alex Cooper.
See, we all make mistakes, bro.
I feel like you were ignoring the diet of Zion. That's all I'm saying. Like, because everybody says, like, if he had lost weight, he'd be okay.
Actually, we were asking you what's the worst run organization in professional sports, and somebody did chime in the chat to say the Pelicans training staff, maybe they should remove the vending machines from the training room.
Man. Or they could have hours that are either broken or empty.
Yeah, nobody's getting fat around here because there's nothing in those things.
By the way, I give you the Charlotte team, by the way. Like, once again, Charlotte's still worse than New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, the Charlotte Hornets.
Well,
yeah, they're awful, too.
A lot of these, you have to get really bad to get really good. The problem with the Phoenix Suns are getting really bad with no really good possible because of the structure. Anyway, I don't know. We're going all over the place.
All plays together. Bogusch, got one more for us?
Because of Jason Tatum's torn Achilles, the Celtics are expected to make multiple moves this summer to reset some of their payroll. The first move came yesterday, sending Drew Holiday to Portland for Anthony Simons and 2 second-rounders. Holiday is signed for 3 more years, including a player option for $104 million total. Simons on an expiring deal worth $27 million for the coming year, so this reportedly shaves $40 million off of Boston's luxury tax bill. Now I'm done.
Weirdly, I get this for Boston. I understand they have to shed all the salary Perloff. They were approaching that second apron, all the stuff that Bogusch just went through. What I don't really understand is the Portland side of this.
I don't either. Is it a coach on the floor?
I guess that's kind of an expensive coach on the floor. He's making $100 million over the next 3 years. And you have Chauncey Billups, who is their actual coach, who you think they would be able to take a lot of cues from. I mean, listen, they need leadership. I get it. You have to pay a premium for that. I would just wonder if Boston feels like, all right, Drew Holiday has been a great player in this league for a long time and a champion on 2 different teams, but was this last season where he was hurt, shooting percentages went down? Are we starting to see age finally catch up?
He's definitely old. Maybe it's like you mentioned the Vegas Raiders earlier. Like at a certain point you want some respectability. Also, I don't think these NBA teams want 8 22-year-olds on their team, right? Like the Rockets traded for an old KD. They must have been sick of having everybody on their team being 20.
But they were the second seed in the West this year. Like it was working. Portland is not a not a contender.
I don't think anybody wants to go there either. So to get anybody of significance, you're going to have to trade for somebody who doesn't have a choice.
Well, I was going to say, if you're the coach of that team or you're the GM, like it's just really hard to have common references with all the 21-year-olds. You need the older people just so you can talk to the players, right? Like I don't even
explain
some of the
this
social
phone
media
party to me like I'm 19.
Yeah. At a certain point, if you like, what fun is it to coach a team where everyone's 21 years old and doesn't even know, hasn't even seen the same shows you've seen?
But apparently, we're talking about young people today, and the Thunder just won the title, and nobody was drinking. Like young people are more like us.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Can't drink on school nights.
But everyone knows how hip Mark Daigneault is. You knew all the references.
I can't remember. Is there a floor? Do you have to spend a certain amount in the NBA like in the NFL? Like, do they have to pay somebody? So they might as well spend some money on Drew Holiday around those young guys and have him shooter.
But don't they have to pay, pretty soon they'll have to pay some of those young guys.
At least you
Shane
think,
Sharp.
Right? Yeah. But for now, is this getting them past some kind of minimum?
It also it signals some kind of like, all right, we're ready to win games now. It's like you picked an interesting time.
Well, it's a little like the Rockets signing Fred VanVleet. Jumping in with one. I get it. I think you can't have all young guys. I think maybe it's a culture thing.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Bogusch, thanks so much. We get back to our Mount Olympus of Phoenix, the 4 sports gods from Phoenix. You guys very upset. We did not put Shane Doan on our list, so apologies to Captain Coyote. Got some other good options for you, though. We get back to it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Oh, very famous one. But this is also a cover song, obviously.
Minnie, we're going to do Phoenix area musicians today.
Yeah, why'd you go with this one?
I mean, how many Phoenix stars do you know that are in the music world? Come on, right off the... No, don't use the Google machine. Come on, right off the noggin.
Phoenix.
I
would bet you country western. That's what I would think. But I don't know any.
We're efforting that.
Oh, the Killers. Oh, that's Vegas.
No, they're from Vegas.
Look at that. Yeah, radio silence.
I can't think of anybody.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I mean, you came up with a bunch from Cincinnati.
I'm just having some rejoin. Do you want me to get some of Shaq's old music? We could maybe do some Shaq rejoins.
Dude, he went platinum.
He has a song with Biggie. We talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
And Hove.
Amazing collab. Welcome back to the show. Today we're doing the Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from the city of Phoenix, Arizona. And listen, Phoenix is an amazing sports town. Ironically, they may have one of the worst run organizations in the entire professional sports, which is the Suns right now. But we're talking about better days, Pearl. Yep. I put Diana Taurasi, Steve Nash, Charles Barkley, and Larry Fitzgerald on my Mount Olympus.
I have Barkley and Fitzgerald. I also have Randy Johnson and Pat Tillman.
Wait, can I ask a quick question real quick?
Yeah.
Pearl, earlier you said there was someone tall we were missing. Who
Randy
was that?
Johnson.
Oh, Randy. Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Quite tall.
Yes, very tall.
Not DeAndre Ayton.
Honestly, I thought that's where you were going. I thought that was the tall player you were referring to. I looked over at DJ
we were
like,
very
what
confused
is he
behind the
talking
glass.
about?
Yeah, we were very confused.
Randy Johnson.
Big
Come on.
unit, I know.
The former Yankee.
let's go to Big Friendly, who's in California. Good morning, Friendly.
Good morning, Maggie Malone, EJ the EP, 411, Daddy Cool, Manny Skrilla Scratch Paper. Next week, I got the platinum advice for dating tips for you. I got you.
Oh, wait a minute. Do we do this now?
No,
wait. We have an update from Manny. Are you doing this on the air or not on the air?
We can tease it. I don't know how we can do our radio due diligence and tease it a little bit. Up to you. You're the goddess of the show.
I appreciate that.
Sports goddess, Maggie Gray.
I think we'll save it.
Definitely a Binghamton sports goddess.
For sure.
Me and me. We will get to Manny's personal life a little bit later in the show because we got an update for you.
But to be honest, Big Friendly's advice to Manny is really for the nation. It's not just for Manny.
That's true.
He's spreading tips that are, I need to hear this too. And
Calvin
I'm
Klein's
happily
Eternity was the number one.
This is the greatest one. Range.
Get
this is the greatest one, Manny. Because I was hoping you had someone that you was thinking could be the queen to the Latin lover. So this why this was going to be platinum. And once again, just because I give you a paintbrush, don't make you Bob Ross.
Amazing. Wait, so what is it? Big Friendly, you can't gatekeep this from us in America. What's the platinum secret to meeting women?
Okay, here we go, Manueli. Since we're going to do this now, I got you. So now listen. We all know Big Friendly has strutted his poem in rhyme prowess. Now, if any woman out there or any men out there, if I'm lying, tell me if I'm lying. And if any of you on the show have done this or Maggie Malone had this done to you, I'm going to teach you, Manny, how to be her lead-off hitter and attract free agents to your organization. This is what you do. You sit down, you think about this woman. You think about how she talks, how she walks, the perfume she wears, the rhythm, her swing. You write her a poem, Manny. It could be a haiku, haiku, whatever you said. Forgive me. Name Butcher strikes again. You want to write her a poem just about her. Then this is what you do. You send that poem with flowers to her job. Because most women get potatoes, fries with their burgers. They don't get flowers. I'm not Dr. Ruth, but Dr. Big Friendly got you. Now, when you send them these flowers, remember something. Women are going to gather around those flowers to see who got the flowers. When that girl grabs those flowers and she reads Thinking of You in that poem, those free agents are going to want to know who you are. I got you, baby. Trust me, Big Friendly has never lost with the poem game.
Well, Big Friendly, to be honest, great advice, but you are really good at this. Like, you did a rap for us. You've rapped for us a couple times. You have a gift of for poems. How would if someone doesn't have that gift, what do? ChatGPT? Like, how do you come up with something?
Manueli, a musician cannot perform without his instruments. Sit down in a room. You got to turn everything off, man. You got to clear your mind. You got to think of her. Man, you got a great personality, a great sense of humor. But what you got to remember is about her. If you know any kind of show she likes, and don't be afraid to use humor. Women love humor.
Yes, we do.
So, and if I got to, Manny, hey, man, I got email. I can write one for you if you need, baby. I got you, man.
Oh, Cyrano de Bergerac.
I'm a good ghostwriter, baby. I got you, Manny.
You should charge for this, Big Friendly. You really should. Okay, I'm going to say it. Solid advice. Big Friendly is spot on because he understands that one thing about women. If you do send flowers to her job, every woman, it's like we can sense flowers within like a 100-yard radius.
60% of the time, it works.
I don't know why.
Time.
I feel like Big Friendly and you to some extent are stuck in a 90s rom-com. I feel like the moves have evolved since Big Friendly was out there hitting singles like Pete Rose.
I know, but sometimes like the classics still work.
Yeah,
I don't know the poem necessarily. Be careful because you don't want to get into like a limerick like there once was a man from Nantucket. Like, don't do that. Be careful. But the flowers will get you a date.
I did the flowers thing once. Did not work.
Really?
Did in college.
Feel like that. Okay.
Did it go against? Like, she got the ick because you came on too strong?
I don't know, but it did not work. What's crazy was, similar to what you were saying, Maggie, when I delivered the flowers the day before, the women in there were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, who is this guy? Like, this woman's so lucky. And she was like, oh, yes, I really like that. Thank you. It was Valentine's Day.
I feel like
should have just stayed home and watched the Rising Stars game.
That's the risk, Manny. If it falls flat, it is like a gut punch. It's like a Tyrese Halliburton 3 to see your team choke away a
the
big
book
lead.
The Game came out and changed all this. Treat women like you don't care, and you get everything, Manny. That's the obvious strategy.
I've heard that.
You got two different forks in the road here. Which way you gonna go?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Get in her car. Well, drunk as Sam stumbled into work at night, smelling like a whiskey, cheap boxed wine. Tried to flirt with Lisa from accounting again, but HR warned him that's strike number 10. Oh Sam, you gotta read the room. You ain't Casanova, you're just full of booms. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Did he call and said, go win the damn lottery? Nobody's seen him since 2:15. Was it a long night or a rendezvous? Oh, Bellotti, did you ghost us for good? Or are you just stuck in your neighborhood? Sam sent an email, slurred every word. Called the boss, baby, man, that's absurd. Tried to high-five, but he missed by a mile. Knocked over the coffee, still flashing a smile. Then he said, I may get too familiar too soon. I am told by HR and writing, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby? Phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to clean this up. Then he said, I may get too familiar too soon. I am told by HR and writing, yeah, that's getting old. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Was he trapped in traffic or hiding in the lobby? Phones keep ringing, but he won't pick up. Left Maggie and Perloff to clean this up. Maybe he's in Vegas, maybe he's in Spain, or maybe he just hit snooze again. We got dead air day filling in, while Sam gets written up again. Where the hell is Peter Blight? Left the show hanging like a bad karate. And drunk old Sam, man, get a clue before HR comes and cancels you. So if you're working and hearing this jam, keep your distance from drunk old Sam. And if Bellotti ever returns one day, we'll all just shrug and say, no way.
Daily was waiting by that glowing screen, hoping night shift crown would go to the king. Ship held it down night after night, with fire in his voice and truth in his mic. But the news came in like a cold hard slap. Pat Boyle's got it, felt like a trap. No shade on the kid, but let's be real, Shepard earned a late night deal. Now Shepard ain't sleeping and Daly's in tears. The Shepard maniac's been loyal for years. We stayed up late, we rode every wave, but they gave it to Pat and dug Ship's grave. So we howled the moon and cursed at the sky, asking one question, why, oh why, oh why? still don't show up for work. No call, no text, just gone with a smirk. Yet ship clocked in through the thick and the thin. Rain or shine, he'd always check in. Infinity, you broke our trust. We wanted chef and that's a must. You picked up oil, but we needed flame. Now the overnights just won't be the same. Yeah, chef, it ain't sleeping, we're twisted with rage. You skipped the vet for the new kid on stage. From the Bronx to the burbs, we're standing tall. Chef, a maniacs answer every call. So crank up the static, let the record show. There's only one man for that late night blow. Pat's got the slot, but it don't feel right. Cause chef, it ain't sleeping, not tonight. It ain't sleeping, we're twisted.
We get back to our Mount Olympus project in just a moment. Today we're doing the 4 sports gods from the city of Phoenix, Arizona, which is hard. It's actually a great sports town with a lot of really amazing options. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But, Pearl, this was courtesy of Joy
was waiting by that
from Fox
glowing
Sports
screen,
1, who was
hoping-
talking on the Joe Budden podcast and brought up something interesting that we want to talk about as well, which is the idea that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are still so tied to the hip in terms of their stories. Let's hear from Joy. She believes that going back to that 2023 title game, the magic bird moment for the WNBA happened when Angel Reese taunted Caitlin Clark.
The Magic Johnson, Larry Bird moment for the WNBA. Like, this is great. I'm a storyteller. I think storylines are so important. I think you need villains. I think you need heroes. You need to sell. You got to sell a fight. Like, brand all of this. And it upset white men to watch this strong, winning, unapologetic black woman be in their, be in Caitlin's face.
Okay, so that's the first part. Here's more from Joy Taylor saying Caitlin Clark would not be as famous if it were not for Angel Reese.
It's now like spun to this whole thing where like Caitlin's better than Angel and blah, blah, blah. I just said we would not be talking about Caitlin Clark the way that we do if it wasn't for that moment with Angel Reese. And I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
I was with you until that.
Okay. Pearl, you hear that and think what?
Well, first of all, it is a little bit of a funny analogy. So she knows Caitlin Clark's a woman, right? So he said white men are upset at Angel Reese confronting Caitlin Clark. That's a little bit of a weird. I mean, I understand what she's saying. It's just a little confusing. This is a woman's sport they're talking about. Like Angel Reese did not confront a white man.
No, I think what Joy's referring to there, and I don't know, but I think she's referring to like casual fans, like casual sports fans who tuned in to watch.
Well, she said white men.
Right.
Yeah, but also too,
media members, people commenting. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think like that you could probably dive into that. Like, were white women not upset at that if they had the same but whatever, because it is a woman's sport. Did that break down
along racial lines? I don't know.
Or break down around like gender lines where really it was the white men. I intuitively understand what she was saying. But the thing is, one thing about the media had to catch up with Caitlin Clark. I think the viewers got there way before the media did. Like, they had no idea. And then all of a sudden, these gigantic numbers started coming. I still think it's her style. Play more. Maybe I do think the racial component played into it. I do think the Angel Reese did. I think people were coming for Caitlin Clark anyway. Because, and again, I'm playing, looking back, the Impact Show has this huge Iowa audience, and they're like, you have to see this person play. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. And the one thing we all want to see in sports is something we've never seen before. That's why we're obsessed with Shohei Ohtani. You want to see something completely different. And I think that's more what Caitlin does. And that's why I kind of agree with the guys who are hemming and hawing. I think the eyeballs would have come. Angel definitely microwaved it a bit. That was crazy. But I think Caitlin would have become just as popular.
Okay, so I think Caitlin would have been popular, and you're right about this 100%. And anyone who tells you differently is lying. It was the audience who loved Caitlin before the media did. And we say that we'll call ourselves out for that. You guys wanted to hear about it and see her and talk about her more than we'd ever talked about the WNBA on a national scale or women's college hoops on a national scale. So that was 100% true. I just think that, can we say it this way? Caitlin Clark still would have been famous and important and would have been a massive figure in women's hoops. but rivalries definitely help. And whether you want to say microwave or fast track it, I would say just like added a power of 10. It multiplied it. Because, maybe Caitlin would still be, and, my mom would watch her on TV and other casual sports fans would watch her. But the rivalry aspect got people into it in a visceral way, right? Whether it was along racial lines, gender lines, whatever it was, it created a connection that wasn't just, oh, I can't wait to watch this. Steph Curry, Shohei Ohtani. The rivalry spurred something in people. Like, it got a fire going in people. Whether you thought Caitlin was being treated badly or you thought Angel was being unnecessarily labeled a villain, whatever side of that you were on, it created a visceral reaction in people more than just, oh, this is cool. She shoots from the logo.
Yeah, see, I don't think you understand Caitlin when she came up. Like, I saw the phenomenon of Caitlin was just so different than just the rivalry. Like, it was. And by the way, like, so why is she still the hottest thing? Like, the rivalry, for all intents and purposes, has died because Angel's not on a good team. So why is Caitlin still this singular thing? Why? They got 12 million. You went over the ratings earlier in the show. They got 12 million when they played LSU in the Final Four, but then they got 18 million for South Carolina. When Caitlin Clark got injured, the WNBA ratings slipped. Right? I'm not quite sure. Like, she doesn't need the rivalry now. So you're saying the rivalry started it all, but she's clearly evolved way past that rivalry.
Well, but not yet. I mean, maybe
Why?
I think she's
Angel doesn't make any difference to Caitlin now.
Well, I think Caitlin is evolving past the rivalry. I don't think that she's completely evolved past it, and I think that people still tune in to see Caitlin and Angel, even if Angel's not on a good team, which is how you know a rivalry is real.
But
right?
I mean, Angel, but Caitlin's numbers are still big no matter who she's playing. Like, they're huge. And like, for example, obviously the most watched women's college basketball game of all time did not have Angel in it.
No, it didn't.
It was against South Carolina. Nobody seemed to care. They were still there to watch Caitlin.
Right. It was a building of it, but that's just because Angel wasn't in that final because Caitlin had already eliminated her in the Elite Eight.
Right.
That number was 18.9 million when Iowa played South Carolina in Caitlin Clark's final college basketball game. If that had been Angel, do you think it could have been 25 million? Like, this is what I'm just saying about the rivalry. It touched people in a different way than when she plays Paige Beckers. It didn't have the same charge. So I'm not willing to say that the Caitlin Angel rivalry is completely dormant or dead, by the way. I think that can be sparked up at any time because that's what great rivalries do. Every time the Yankees play the Red Sox, it isn't knock down, drag them out. But if you get it going again, and if the two teams are good again at the same time, you're going to see those same feelings start to get back to the forefront.
Yeah, true. But I mean, obviously, like, the most important thing for the WNBA is that Caitlin's team does well. I mean, I don't think they don't need that. They don't need that at all. They need Caitlin in the finals. Isn't that much more important?
Well, now you're talking about a different motivator. Yeah. Now you're talking about what the WNBA needs. No, but I'm talking about a sports rivalry.
Well, I think, I mean, listen, they played LSU the first time. There was no rivalry between Angel. Maybe there was, and I missed it, but the rivalry started at the end of the first finals game, and they had already jumped from 4-point-something million to 9-point-something million. That's a 200% jump because people wanted to see Caitlin. So there was obviously she didn't become famous because of the Angel rivalry. She was already a massive thing. Like, people started watching her games at Iowa outrated everybody by miles heading into you had to see Caitlin Clark play because she shot from 10 feet beyond the 3-point line. And you still have to. Like, I just think to say that the rivalry is why, it almost sounds like the rivalry is, it's not what you're saying or what Joy is saying. The rivalry is why she's there when it's not. It's the fact that she shoots from 10 feet beyond the arc. She's crazy. I saw her hit a shot when she came back from injury. I was like, how on earth did she do? She was double teamed and flung up this jumper from 45 feet away. How does she do that?
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I'll just ask you this question. And you can call us up and tell us, do you think that, Caitlin Clark would not be as big as she is today if not for Angel? That's what Joy Taylor said. We're going to give her full credit. But I ask you this question. Shohei Ohtani, huge, right? Massive, face of the sport, face of baseball. Imagine if he had a rival. Right? Like, imagine if it's, and I know the Dodgers have rivals. The Dodgers have rivals with the Padres.
Well, how
the
would a
Dodgers have
baseball player
rivals
have a
with
rival?
San Francisco. Well,
Like
the Yankees Red Sox was one of the biggest rivalries.
Right, you have
in sports.
team rivalries.
All right,
Right.
Piazza Clemens.
Yeah, you can have individual rivalries like that.
I mean, okay, how many? Right, but it's kind of hard.
So what if the Padres and the Dodgers continue to have all these, epic games? The guys are throwing at Shohei
They
Ohtani.
have great rivalries. And the Giants Dodgers.
Well, but specifically with Shohei on the team now, because Shohei just got to the Dodgers.
Yeah,
He's been playing for the Angels for.
We've been talking about it. The Padres is a great rivalry.
Right. So imagine how much bigger that makes things.
Not at all. Shohei is Shohei.
Or how much more visceral the reaction is when you watch Shohei getting hit because it's part of a rivalry. It just adds a different level to it. Like Roger Federer would have been an amazing tennis player. Him with Rafael Nadal makes it even better.
I totally agree, but like you don't need a rivalry. Shohei is a perfect example for Caitlin. Like Shohei is going to be the most fascinating player in baseball by a large percentage, no matter if he has a rival or not a rival. And Caitlin is the same thing. Like Caitlin is going to be by far have the spotlight on her, no matter if Angel Reese retired tomorrow, would not, in my mind, affect the trajectory of it, Caitlin Clark at all. She's the Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods of this sport.
Mm-hmm.
She has taken this sport on her shoulders.
And Tiger had a rival. It was Phil. I mean, it was kind of everybody.
No, do you think Tiger would not have been Tiger without Phil?
No, he would have, but I think Phil was a good foil at times for Tiger.
But Tiger was going to take the sport where he took it, no matter, I think Caitlin has that kind of impact. To me, it's singular. I mean, and I do disagree. I think she's evolved past that rivalry. I think Angel, in some ways, evolved past that rivalry too. Now she's this very interesting player, but she's like the best rebounder in the league. Like, I don't know. Honestly, they could use a rivalry where somebody who plays Caitlin's position. That'd be interesting too. What if Juju Watkins is the one? I know she got hurt. What if she was the one that was promised and she was just as good as Caitlin on the outside? That'd be something to watch.
It'd be great, but there's part of this where we're talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and there's part of it that because of what you mentioned, how it started, right? With the "you can't see me" the John Cena thing, because Caitlin had done that to a South Carolina player, and then Angel did it back in her face. So there was something about the fact that we didn't have to sit around in a boardroom and talk about who's going to be a rival. It just sort of organically happened, right? Because unless Angel was really planning to do that, I don't think she was. It was like spur of the moment. It happened. I don't think you can just manufacture that down the road. It's like, well, maybe Juju Watkins. Well, like there has to be an inciting incident for it to make a real rivalry.
But it'd be but you think that, I don't know how she's going to recover from injury, but we think Juju Watkins is so unbelievably good. She feels like she's going to come in WNBA and win titles. And Caitlin felt like she's going to come in WNBA. She's already in the top 3 in MVP odds. I feel like you're like 2 MVP level players who should go. Now, Angel, I do not think is going to be in that discussion. And she doesn't play the same position. Like the best rivalries in basketball were obviously Wilt and Bill Russell. And Magic and Bird didn't play the same position, but they were closer. I just feel like that it's not a natural rivalry. Like the best power for it's like seeing Dennis Rodman as a rival with Michael Jordan.
Well, people want to put Steph Curry and LeBron James in a rivalry.
I never even really
they
bought
put
that
themselves in a rivalry.
Yeah,
right?
but it wasn't. Was it the same?
No, they're not guarding each other, clearly.
But is that even like, has that rivalry been driving the league like Bird Magic?
Well, but Pearl, you're asking for not everything's going to be Bird Magic.
Exactly.
You know?
I don't even think like that rivalry never had heat to me because obviously LeBron loves Curry. He's been trying to get him on his team for
that is very
years.
new. That is very new.
They were playing each other in the finals
15,
year after year.
15 and 16, there was a lot of bad blood during that time.
To me, they never felt like a great match rivalry because they're so different. They're such different players.
I mean, to me, I think there's a player in WNBA who absolutely could be that rival if you want a similar position and similar age.
Paige
Beckers.
See, okay,
but Juju's even better than Paige, I think. Like, watch her
Juju
play.
is like a forward, though. Like, she's not like Caitlin's like a point guard.
Juju reminds me of Jordan Kobe. She's a 2-guard.
Right, but that'd be like Jordan. I mean, I guess you could say Isaiah. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't. That's still not the same match.
So
right?
Here's the thing about Beckers and about Caitlin, and there's still time for them to become rivals. And I know we got robbed of it because injuries this past year when they couldn't play each other. Not this past year, 2 years ago, right in the NCAA tournament. They've been circling each other for this whole time, right? They know each other, and they played each other their freshman years of college before Paige got hurt. Don't you think if that was going to be a rival, it would be one?
But have they ever played in a meaningful game?
They played in the tournament.
Yeah, their freshman year.
Yeah, just last year, too. Or a couple years ago.
2 years
in
ago.
the Elite 8, yeah.
It's like, I think that you got to be, that's what I'm saying about Angel. Like, she did the thing where she got in Caitlin's face and boom, a rivalry was born out of that, right? You can't just sit around in a lab and say, this person and this person. Now, that would make a good rivalry. It's not like a UFC fight where Dana White just gets to put them together and then all of a sudden you yell at each other at a press conference. It's not as manufactured in that way. So I don't know if they have the appetite to be rivals with each other.
But I don't know if they even, I don't think it needs to be them wanting to be rivals with each other. I think you just need the fans to want to pit them against each other, which is still very possible. Like if Paige Beckers is having an awesome rookie year. She looks like she's going to be a WNBA superstar as well. They're similar ages, they play similar positions, and the college thing, like you said, they kind of were circling around each other because Caitlin was not a household name when Paige was a superstar. Then Paige got hurt. Then Caitlin became a superstar. They played, but by the time they played, it was all about Angel and Caitlin, not Angel and Paige, or even Paige and Caitlin. So it's a little different.
I get that, and that will be big for basketball fans.
Right.
But we're talking about an Angel-Caitlin rivalry that spilled over way beyond sports.
I know, but Paige has a big following too. You see these the people waiting before games at UConn for her, and
I get it.
She's a big deal as well.
But not like Fox News is talking about it, not like Jill Biden is commenting on it or whatever. Like the Angel Caitlin thing went to realms that were so beyond. Caitlin and Paige, that's a basketball conversation, and that's where it ends.
Well, also, I kind of disagree. I might be in trouble for saying this, but like Caitlin Clark is number one in the sport, and then there's a cliff, and put whoever you want number two, but it's miles different.
You're talking about popularity, obviously, not skill.
Popularity, yeah, like just impact on the league and popularity. Like there's no thing. Caitlin is a singular force in this league. Again, the only comparisons I would make are Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan. Like there's. Honestly, I think that all the numbers back that up. It's Caitlin. Paige Beckers, you're right, should be a huge star, but nobody makes the impact like Caitlin. Nobody even seems to scratch the surface of Caitlin.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So you're welcome to weigh in on that. We thought it was interesting. Again, it was Joy Taylor on the Joe Budden podcast saying that Caitlin would not be as famous today if not for Angel Reese. Let us know if you agree or disagree. We get back to the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff. Today, the city is Phoenix, Arizona, the four sports gods from Phoenix. We do that next.
He's an idiot and a fool.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, the Defensive Player of the Week is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Defensive Player of the Week, you would think probably something off the NBA Finals, Maggie.
Yeah, I know what EJ did.
I have a thought too, but go ahead.
Well, EJ has a combined dislike, not disrespect, but a dislike of the Pacers while also being a big Gonzaga fan. So I think he gave it to Chet Holmgren, who had 5 blocks in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
I got to tell you, I thought, it's interesting you say that. I thought Doris Burke was way off. She was like, kept on talking about Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren's defense was a problem in the first half, and then Chet's like, this is embarrassing, and then stepped it up in the second half. I actually think EJ's going to name the entire Thunder. He probably will go Chet Holmgren, but the entire Thunder, instead of one player, you're going to give it to the team.
The swarming defense?
Yes, like it's an all-time defense, and then you're going to actually ignore the player aspect and go team.
Oh, you guys know I hate doing the team thing. The Defensive Player of the Week this week is Gonzaga's own Chet Holmgren, whose 5 blocks set a record for NBA Finals Game 7, and his defense down the stretch put the seatbelt on the Indiana Pacers and allowed them to clinch an NBA championship. They won 103-91. Again, Chet's blocks was a record for a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. He was phenomenal down the stretch.
Yeah, what about when TJ McConnell hit 2 layups in a row on him?
I mean, it's a 48-minute game, pro. You're not going to play great
dude's
defense the whole
5'8".
game.
Yeah, that third
He
quarter.
was, by the way, he
guy.
was scoring on everybody. It wasn't just Chet Holmgren.
But I'll be totally honest about it. The other thing, Chet, like you did see, if you pull him out to the perimeter, he loses his effectiveness, like the old big man problem. But then the Pacers were so worn out by the end, they were just like, well, I got to just take it in here and fling it up against this guy. Yeah, Lou Dort, by the way, disappointment is defensively. I thought they actually were able to get to Dort. I thought the torture chamber, I didn't see him shutting down guys left or right. Maybe it's the way the Pacers are. You don't need, but Dort did not impress me in this finals. Not a lot. Actually, most of the Thunder did not impress me. Kason Wallace definitely didn't impress me. He fell apart in the finals. Caruso was hot and cold. Jalen Williams was really bad in the last game. Anyway.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I actually, not one individual guy outside of Shea and the Chet Holmgren 5 blocks was probably like the standout, but I actually was impressed with Dort throughout the playoffs. I would not agree with you on that one, but we have 2 things percolating for you. 2 things. Number 1 is Caitlin Clark. And we had Joy Taylor, who said that she doesn't believe Caitlin Clark would be as famous as she is today without Angel Reese. So we're reacting to that because it's fascinating to think about because that rivalry is so huge. And then we are also doing the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff, the 4 sports gods from the city of Phoenix. Okay, so we're going to leave that for you to think about as we welcome in Zach Harper from The Athletic, who is joining us now. Hey, Zach, I don't know if you heard that at all, and thanks so much for doing this. Perloff not really impressed with the Oklahoma City Thunder. How did you want to word that for Zach Harper, NBA writer for The Athletic?
I didn't know Zach was on the line, but just I generally, did all the Thunder role players play their best games in the finals? I don't think so.
No, but also, the finals are hard.
Yeah.
You know, and the Pacers are good. I do think everyone kind of overlooked how good this Pacers team. Everyone thought the Thunder are just going to roll past the Pacers. And since January 1st, the Pacers were the second or third best team in the NBA. And I know it doesn't seem like it because, they don't have a LeBron or a KD or a Steph or anything like that. But, Tyrese Halliburton has played over the last 2 years like the new Steve Nash. He is really that good. He is fantastic. And so, up until that injury, it looked like he was ready to light them up in Game 7, and unfortunately that injury happens. But the crazy thing about that Game 7, the leader in three-pointers made in Game 7 was Tyrese Halliburton. He played 7 minutes. That's how weird that game was. That's how weird that series was.
Man, Zach Harper joining us from The Athletic. He is a basketball writer, does a fantastic job. We want to get his thoughts. So just cleaning up some old stuff from yesterday off of that Game 7. What will be the most memorable moment to you from the finals? Because Perloff and I argued about this yesterday. I think it's the Halliburton injury where he said it's not.
I think, unfortunately, it is because I think it robbed us of what we thought was going to be a great finish to a great finals. This was really one of the best finals of the last 25 years until that moment. I know not a lot of people watched it until Game 7, but it was a great NBA Finals. And, you do get the culmination and the crowning of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder, and it is impressive that a team this young, the only other team younger than them in NBA history to win a championship is the Portland Trailblazers in 1977. But this Thunder team, it's super impressive, and Tyrese Halliburton was I think the story of the entire playoff run. So for him to not get that chance, it really took everything out of that Game 7. And it doesn't take away from what the Thunder did. It just took away from the moment.
Okay, I think I'm being contrary there, but what made it a great finals? I saw a lot of turnovers. I saw a lot of fouling. I saw poor shooting. I saw at times ball hogs and teams forgot how to pass. What made it so great, in your opinion?
The competition. Look, we talk about the play of the 80s and the 90s. Rockets Knicks went to 7. That was a lot of fouling and a lot of turnovers and a lot of missed shots. Jazz Bulls, a lot of fouling, a lot of turnovers, a lot of missed shots. We tend to just remember the good stuff. The competition in this NBA Finals was amazing. The fact that this underdog, this David versus Goliath story, even though both of them seem to be David when it comes to the Perkins aspect of it.
David versus David story.
But you think about the Thunder, this is a 68-win team who set the record for double-digit wins in a season and had the highest margin of victory in NBA history. No other team was this dominant ever. So they really were a Goliath. It's just no one knew who they were because they're all, teenagers at this point. So that was the issue. But for Indiana to come through and to challenge them and push them to a Game 7, if they had that chance to win it with Halliburton at the end, I truly believe it would have been, one of the 5 to 10 best finals in the last 25 years.
One other counter is I think back to the Lakers Celtics in the 80s, and it was number 1, number 2, a whole starting 5 was top 5 picks. This is the whole half the starting 5 feels like the modern NBA. You might have been in the G League 2 years ago, and then you're getting 30 minutes in an NBA Finals game. It is the NBA, as Adam Silver's bragging, it's set up for parity in a way. That for me, I think there are a lot of fans who think, oh, this is a bit watered down because you don't have the super teams.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I hate parody. I think parody's for losers. Parody sucks. That may work for other sports. It is not the best interest for the NBA. This whole, hey, anyone can win a championship in a year. forget that. We need Goliaths. We need dynasties to be built up and then to be toppled. Like, that is what makes the NBA historically great. And so this push towards parity, I think, is a massive mistake. The collective bargaining agreement, I think, is a massive mistake. The Thunder becoming a dynasty here, or any team becoming a dynasty in the next few years, would be in the best interest of the NBA, because you do need those stories.
Zach Harper is joining us. He covers the NBA for The Athletic. Also got a cool movie pod, Cinepho pod, which we're all big fans of here, Zach. Thank you for doing this. You mentioned, and we're going to be in agreement here, it's good for the NBA to have rivalries, and it's great for the NBA to have these super teams that, dynasties that everyone kind of take their shot and see if they can try to topple the dynasty. A lot of people would like to make Oklahoma City the next dynasty and maybe crowning them a little early. To be fair, we said this about the Celtics, and I think we said it about the Nuggets too. Do you think OKC is actually any different? Do you think they actually could be the next dynasty?
I think the tricky part is just figuring out what that means, right? Because the stuff now never lasts as long as we think. The Miami Heat had ruined everything. Not 5, not 6, not 7. It was 4 years and they won 2 titles. Kevin Durant going to the Warriors ruined babasketball. That was 3 years and 2 titles. And then, like you said, Denver, was supposed to now have a stranglehold on everything. They fired their coach, a year later with 3 games left in the season. And then the Celtics, didn't even get back to the NBA Finals, and their best player got injured for the next year. It's probably set up for maybe 2 or 3 more years, just because of the way, this second apron and the luxury tax, all the fun stuff we love to talk about with basketball, of the financial stuff where you get out your checkbook and you got your QuickBooks and everything to figure out. That's the fun stuff with basketball. That's what the NBA has really nailed here.
We love paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. We always want accounting to factor into this. That's going to be the question, is they have to pay all these guys. They're Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, extension eligible this fall. Supermax is coming for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this fall. So big money is coming next, in a year for them, which makes this team very difficult to stick together. The good news for them, they have 1,000 draft picks over the next 7 years. So they can move guys out. They can bring cheap players in that are good and can build them up again. They are a well-run organization and set up to bring in more talent. They just have to be very careful about how they do it.
So, Zach, it seems like someone referred to it as an arms race in the West to try and maybe catch up with the Thunder. A lot of rumors about stars that could potentially come to Western Conference contenders. We have KD going to Houston. Do you expect another star to be traded during this hot stove period?
Not until everyone figures out what's going on with Giannis. That is I think that's the reason part of the KD trade looks so confusing, of really that's all Phoenix is getting, because a lot of teams are just San Antonio probably looked at the whole idea of getting KD. They're yeah, but if we just wait and see if Giannis wants to come play with Wemby, we would rather do that, because he's younger, he's better, and you can have him for a much longer time. So I think that's the tricky part, is Giannis making up his mind of, do I really want to endure this in Milwaukee while we wait for Dame to get back, while we try to see if they can figure out anything with this roster, because that's going to get really bad over the next year. Next year's going to be pretty rough for Milwaukee. If Giannis wants to stick that out, then everybody will move on and kind of see, all right, who else can we go get? If Giannis decides, all right, you know what, get me out of here, I want to go win a title somewhere else, everyone's going to rush to Milwaukee with crazy offers. So then at that point, once that domino falls, then you'll see other dominoes fall.
Zach Harper is with us, The Athletic, writes about the NBA for The Athletic. Where do you think the wind is blowing right now on a potential Giannis trade? Because it felt like it was maybe happening, and now maybe it's died down a little bit. The draft starts tomorrow. Do you think this is happening?
I don't. I think that was a lot of us hoping that this would happen, of just we love chaos. And as much as we say, hey, guys need to stick with one team, the second we get the idea that a guy that good may change teams, we just start photoshopping jerseys onto him and everything. And we get really excited. I think that he is, and this is me guessing, I don't know Giannis at all, but my perspective of it is, I think that he looks at this as a very tough decision, not necessarily from a PR decision, but just the idea that, all right, am I really going to leave this place? I think he likes it in Milwaukee. I think he likes playing for that organization. I think he likes the idea of being there and bringing another championship there. But at the same time, That guy's obsessive. That guy is psychotically competitive. And I mean that as like a compliment. Like he's someone who wants to bring championship after championship after championship. And he does have to eventually look in the mirror and see that this situation in Milwaukee, at least for a year or two, is not going to have a chance to do that. And so he has to make that decision. I don't think it's going to be this year. If anything, it would be next summer. But then again, it's the NBA. We get stuff dropped on us all the time. It could be tomorrow.
Like the Lucas Ray. What's the one storyline we should be watching for tomorrow night at the draft, Zach?
Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey has been real weird with this stuff, and I love it because I love the chaos of it all. But Ace Bailey has decided, you know what? I don't think I want to go to Philadelphia. I don't think I want to go to these places. I want to find my way to certain teams. We don't know which team that is yet of where he wants to go, but Ace Bailey could be Tracy McGrady. He could be Deion Waiters. We don't really know. Like he's
Wow.
he's pretty incredible. Like he's I watched a game the other day of his where he had like 37 points with 10 or 11 dribbles, something like that. And then I've watched games where I thought, I don't know if this guy is going to make it through the G League. Like, I mean, he's an unbelievable talent. He's got some decision-making issues on the court with shot selection and stuff, but he's an explosive athlete. He's got incredible talent. If you harness that in the right way, if he goes to the right organization, he will be a star. But based on him canceling workouts and canceling meetings and everything leading up to this draft, he may still go third to Philadelphia. He may go fourth to Charlotte. He may drop to like 10th, 11th, 12th. Like, we don't know where that's going to go. That's probably going to be more dramatic. He may even not get past Washington at 6, but that's going to be the guy draft night that everyone has their eye on.
All right, Zach Harper with us for just another minute. Again, thank you for doing this. You're getting up early, and we appreciate it. This is not normally on the Hoops Watcher and Hoops Reporter schedule. So, again, we love reading you in The Athletic. And I mentioned, you talk about movies as well. And I don't know if this is actually some good branding, Perloff and everyone else on the show, but obviously I've been watching so much basketball over the last month, and that Jurassic Park commercial just keeps going over and over and over again. I'm like, man, Scarlett Johansson's really doing a dinosaur movie, isn't she? I haven't thought about watching a Jurassic Park in a long time. Zach, should I go see this one? Like, I'm getting suckered in. I'm not going to lie.
100%. Look, the Jurassic Park is not about the actors. It's about the dinosaurs. This is what, like, everyone, when Jurassic World came out, I don't know, 100 years ago with the new one with Chris Pratt, everyone's like, really? The characters weren't that good. I was like, what characters? I just watched dinosaurs. That's all I want to see. Like, I want to see dinosaurs attack people in modern day. That is the reason for Jurassic World. Now, the next two movies were garbage. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. This could be real bad. But the first one, I think, in the reboot is always going to be good. I think this one's going to be at least entertaining. And then, they'll keep going too much because they got to cash in. And then you still watch them, but just know that those will be bad. But I think this one's going to be really good.
I saw a tagline that said, Jurassic World, it said, a whole bunch of new dinosaurs or something. I'm like, how many dinosaurs are there to explore in this
they're
experiment?
inventing dinosaurs. No, it's great. They genetically modify
it's
them.
Not great.
They're even scarier. No, it's great. Like they're thinking now. It's
Yeah, this isn't just like lizards like that are big. It's like when they got bulbous heads. They have like head that looks like a predator.
Camouflage.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are you guys at 9 years old? Come on.
Well, kind of. Yes. I mean, Jurassic Park came out when I was 9, so I can't help it. I think I'm genetically engineered to like this kind of movie because Steven Spielberg got into my head at a very young age. Is there another movie of the summer that you think we should all be seeing?
I've never gotten into F1, but the way they made the trailers for this Brad Pitt movie, I'm in. Like, I don't know. I'm a sucker for a good trailer, and so they've hooked me in. I'm still not going to fall into it. I don't understand car racing. It doesn't do it for me. If it does it for you, great. But I'll watch Brad Pitt do just about anything.
Superman, July 11th. You into it?
Yeah, I mean, they don't know how to make a good Superman movie anymore, but I'll keep going back. I'll keep getting hurt. I'm with it.
Like an abusive relationship. Zach Harper, you can read him on The Athletic. Love listening to Cinephobe. You guys do a great job. Again, thank you for doing this, and we'll talk to you again soon. Enjoy free agency and the draft.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
Thanks, Zach. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one about the Jurassic Park thing.
No, you said you liked Jurassic Park when you were 9. You probably haven't even watched the rest of them. They're really hard to watch.
I watched the second one where only like a few of the actors came back. It was like Jeff Goldblum and the guy like the old guy who ran the park.
Here's the bottom line is, like, you could claim they're new dinosaurs, but the end of the day, they're all running from raptors in the final 10 minutes of the movie. Every single one of them.
It is funny. It's like the raptor is like the god level, dinosaur that just takes everybody out.
At the end of the day, you're going to have some version of a velociraptor and a T-Rex. I mean, that's why you probably haven't seen one of these in 30 years. They're not good. I watched the Chris Pratt ones. No good.
Yeah.
This one looks awful.
Well, they're like on the water now. That's like the part that's freaking me out.
I feel like this is the only crowd that I know that definitely doesn't want to see this movie.
Does not.
Yeah, Andrea wants to see it. All my friends are really excited about it. So I don't know.
Oh my God! Did you guys like the Chris Pratt one? Were you excited for that?
I thought the first one was okay. I didn't really watch the other ones.
I didn't even know this movie was in production. You guys said Scarlett Johansson's in it, though?
Have you been watching the NBA? I know you have.
On streaming, yes.
There was a commercial, the Chris Pratt one, where a dinosaur crawls into someone's house, and it looked like, oh my God, it is on. Then I went to the movie, and I was like, this is the biggest waste of 2 hours of my entire life.
But these trailers are not pulling you in at all?
No. I mean, I had to be
the dinosaurs
curious.
are circling the boat?
I've had enough Jurassic Park movies. I've had enough Spider-Man reboots. Make some new movies. Somebody. Just stop making the same movie over and over and over and over again.
Well, Prof, that's a ridiculous thing to ask for. We can't do that anymore. This is
Meanwhile-
Hollywood, for goodness sakes. They have no new ideas.
Meanwhile, I'm all in on the new Superman, which is what? The 23rd different Superman?
Yeah, have fun with that one.
But you know why? Because he's from suburban Philly. Went to Shipley High School down the road where Andrea Kramer went. Let's go.
Wait, not actual Superman, the actor?
Yes, no, actual Superman. This Superman. He comes down from Krypton. He doesn't settle in the farmland.
He's going to make fun of her for this. I don't want to insult you.
No, for a second,
here.
I was like, did he write for the Philly Inquirer? And I just missed that story.
He's
He
from
comes down-
Smallville, Maggie.
He lands in Lower Merion, the home of Kobe Bryant.
That's why.
And he's got
Maybe
that.
he threw a battery at Santa Claus.
His superpower is Mamba mentality.
Yeah. And Kryptonite's green for the Celtics. No, nothing.
I wasn't sure.
I mean, we could, if we're talking about movies being over, are you pumped for another Mission Impossible? Because that's one that I'm hearing a lot of buzz about. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of out after.
I told
4.
you guys, I've never really watched Mission Impossible. Like I don't think I have actually. I don't think I've ever watched one of those movies.
None of them? Tom Cruise doing his own stunts did nothing for you?
No, he seemed like a fake James Bond.
Yeah, well, it's a spy movie.
Right. But, I got James Bond.
I can't wait for Game 1 of the NBA season, man. Game 1 of 82. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Give his Summer League.
A lot has to happen.
Summer League. I'm excited. I am excited about that.
We should run out a movie theater and watch some Summer League games.
We need some games so we know what movies are coming out. And you know what? It's still, we don't talk about enough when the NBA players insert themselves into the trailer. Like Jason Tatum is all of a sudden like
Superman.
Yeah, but then Jason, that after he hurt his Achilles, they pulled that commercial from rotation. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's funny because in the NFL, they have Baker Mayfield going all the way through the NFC Championship game, even though he's long gone. Remember, what was it, Baker Mayfield? Yeah.
When he was living in the stadium?
Yeah. That was like every game. I'm like, that guy's been home for a month. Anyway.
The Browns are about to cut him next week.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, lots to do. We'll get to Bogusch in a minute. We've got the Caitlin Angel stuff on the table for you. Like Joy Taylor has posited this theory that Caitlin would not be as famous without Angel Reese. Do you agree with that? Secondly, the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff, the 4 sports gods from Phoenix. Get back to that in a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We've got Andrew Bogusch here with all the latest headlines. And there was a trade last night in the NBA. There's a lot going on.
But first, another reassuring nugget about the Knicks head coaching search. T-Wolves assistant Micah Nori reportedly interviewed for that gig, which makes 3 known candidates, joining Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown and maybe Jason Kidd, who still doesn't have an extension in Dallas and has lost his top assistant this offseason.
Let's go Knicks!
Let's go Knicks.
Does he have to get traded before the draft? If Jason Kidd was going to get traded, right? Coaches have to get traded. Would that happen before tomorrow night?
It could be next year's draft pick too, right? I guess.
I think the assumption is no matter what, they are not going to have a coach by tomorrow night. The Knicks.
What happened to Johnny Bryant? Sorry, who was a front runner?
Doesn't seem like they want him.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like they had an idea of who they wanted to hire before they fired Thibodeau.
Nope.
And now, okay, we haven't actually talked about the Knicks in a long time, which is probably better. But Tyrese Halliburton, now he gets hurt. Now the Eastern Conference, everyone's licking their chops, right? Because it's one team along with Dame Lillard, who's had to take a step back. Jason Tatum, we know, is going to be hurt for a long time. Do you kind of wish you just kept Tibbs?
No.
I don't know about that.
I kind of, actually, you just convinced me. Yeah, like that team was right there with Indiana, with Tibbs. Why would you explain to me why you wouldn't want him?
Because Tibbs has been outcoached every single time the Knicks have faced a worthy opponent.
But there are no worthy opponents. The last 2 times Indiana, and before that it was Atlanta, and that coach isn't even there anymore.
And Miami too. That was an 8 seed.
Yeah, well,
I just feel like they're going to run into some. It's going to be Orlando. It's going to be Cleveland. It's going to be somebody that.
Are you sure Mike Brown's not getting outcoached by those same people?
Maybe, but I'd rather try to do something different than what they've been doing.
Yeah,
I did not want Tibbs back.
Tibbs would definitely outcoach Mike Brown.
I mean, you guys are speaking that confidently about Tibbs? Oh my
Tibbs
gosh.
kind of outcoached Joe Mazzulla, but Joe Mazzulla, as I keep saying, doesn't do anything. I don't even know what he does here. Just stares.
Well, now he's got Anthony Simons now to play around.
I thought you were going to say, the Knicks are the clear cut for favorites in the East, and I was going to say it might have been the inebriation talking, but I cried a little bit at I was third quarter. My friend said, "Hey, wait a minute." Pacers, Halliburton's gone, Celtics, and I started to tear up because I knew what he was implying.
Wow. It doesn't take a lot to make you cry.
No. So can I give you the latest odds?
Keep you single.
The Cavs are plus 260, and the Knicks are plus 290. That's really close. Yeah. Favorites in the East. And the Cavs have been postseason chokers. I agree. Maggie, sorry, you were just posing a question. They should have kept Tibbs.
But the 290, they don't have a coach. So when they get a coach, the odds will probably... They might go ahead of the Cavs once they have a coach.
Unless it's Mike Brown.
Mike Brown catching strays today. He's had a perfectly fine career.
Mike Brown's been coaching in NBA Finals. Tom Thibodeau has not.
Can we start lighting the beam if he comes here?
I would love that. Light the beam being a thing in the Garden.
Wait, I keep forgetting.
Like the Empire State Building.
Yeah, like the Empire State Building.
Like the Empire State Building.
Where was Mike Brown? Mike Brown's flirted with many champions. He's been around champions. Like he was
on the Warriors staff. They won a championship.
Right, and then he was at Cleveland after they. Or no, where was he?
Yeah, Cleveland.
Right. Okay. Before they won
he was a Spurs assistant too, wasn't he?
Spurs assistant.
Yeah. And was he with the Lakers?
He was a Lakers head coach.
But he kind of always missed the title and all.
Yeah, he always. Yeah. Well, now he's joining a team that maybe he can be the guy. Maybe. I think it's gonna be Taylor Jenkins. By the way, we keep ignoring him. He's the guy I want, and then he'd be good.
Former Memphis.
Really?
Coach.
Yeah.
Based on what?
He was coach of the year. He took a Memphis team that was one of the worst teams in the league, won 50+ games multiple times. Yeah, I'd take that guy for sure.
Well, just give it to Rick Brunson and let's end this charade.
Oh, God.
Back to you, Bogusch.
The trade that Maggie mentioned, the Celtics sending Drew Holiday to Portland in what could be the first of multiple trades this summer. Boston taking back Anthony Simons, 2 second-round picks, while reportedly shaving $41 million off their luxury tax bill. But the C's still apparently on the wrong side of the second tax apron by $20 million. We have discussed the Thunder's lack of partying after winning the NBA title Sunday night. At the other end of that spectrum, the Florida Panthers, who are still raging, even though they won the Stanley Cup a week ago. Sam Reinhart, Matthew Tkachuk, Brad Marchand were on the Spittin' Chicklets podcast with our guy Biz from a pool.
Biz nasty.
No shirts, daiquiris in hand.
Phoenix legend.
Yesterday, Reinhart shared their sleep schedule for a week of partying.
Probably a couple hours. Couple late afternoon naps to go again, but it's been a heck of a ride.
They also
this is their second one too.
Yeah. They also thank the trainers for helping keep the boys in partying shape, and they said that their favorite bar/club comped them almost $500K on a bill recently.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I got lots of thoughts about that. But you know what's funny about the two worlds colliding? Like if somehow this Stanley Cup Panthers nonstop party collided with like the Thunder who are just in the corner scrolling on their phones. Also, can you imagine
having munchkins and Capri Suns?
Can you imagine anyone on the Florida Panthers, this being their first ever drink? There's no way that was
zero.
Like it did with the Thunder. And two,
why is it burn? What is this, whiskey? Why I don't like it.
Somebody asking, hey, does anyone know how to open this champagne bottle? I feel like Tkachuk would come and open it with his teeth. Or just
He'd be
chew
lucky
on the glass.
if it was just his teeth.
Yeah. Oh, God. Learn this from a woman in so-and-so. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, baseball last night. The Red Sox lost in Anaheim 9-5. The Mets took a 3-2 home loss from the Braves. They are now 0-4 this season against their enemies. They've also dropped 9 of their last 10 overall. And Cal Raleigh, his major league leading 32nd homer
dumper
for the Mariners' 11-2 win in Minnesota. And I'm done. Back to you guys.
Bogusch, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yes, bro.
I'm currently crafting a brilliant email. Do you guys know that meme where the old guy has out a red plaid shirt and he gets a new red plaid shirt?
Yes.
That's Tom
Love that
Thibodeau to
meme.
Taylor Jenkins. Like, they're like, he won a million regular season games and bombed out in the playoffs. I'm like, wait, why? Who does that remind me of? Oh, this is such a good email.
Perloff calling his shot on a brilliant email that he's saying
I'm
to
so
us.
proud of this. I have to run after the show, so I'm not going to be around to see your reaction. So I had to bring up. I can't believe you want to go
Save the
from
email.
Tom Thibodeau to Taylor Jenkins.
Guy who plays a bench and a guy who doesn't play a bench.
Whatever.
Wait, are you just emailing that to us?
Yeah, that's not even Twitter. I'm not putting it out there.
It's not
I
confident
don't
enough to
need
put it out on
Nick's Twitter on my back. I don't need
Exactly.
Ben Stiller and Jerry Ferrara coming after me.
Yeah,
so
you
I'm
don't
gonna
want that.
stay.
Yeah, you don't want that smoke.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right, EJ?
Oh yeah, I'd be cheering them on too, retweeting them.
Thank you, EJ Stewart, Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos, the Coffee Drinkers.
You're in a 5-minute break.